GG, I am DJ Jones of Alt Lane Nail, Chris Ryder. We got a special guest. Nelly Nail, do the introduction, please.
You already know, man. This is Dinner at the Round Table podcast, your favorite podcast, your source to knowledge. Today we have the Profits for Profits CEO, Ariel Polanco, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing there, buddy? You still there?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. I'm good. I'm feeling good. Feeling good, looking good, smelling good. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Spreading the knowledge.
Just got to say one thing. For the last couple months during quarantine, your boy Chris Ryder's been a hell of a mess. But as you see, I'm muy beautiful, muy, looking nice, looking right. Because phase 2 will open the barbershop, so your boy got a haircut.
Oh man,
you finally got rid of that dashiki you had going, brother.
Listen, that was a lot of hair, a lot of places. I had people telling me I look like a wet dog, but I ain't a wet dog no more. Yeah.
Oh, man. All dried up, player.
But yeah, man. But I'm glad you finally got that taken care of, man. Because now you look like a human being. You was looking like an animal in the forest, bro.
He looked like
everybody for the last 2 days have been like, "Yo, you got a haircut? Yo, you look good."
Talking about haircuts, look at my Aztec design here. Shout out to my Dominican barber named Anthony, okay? So you got a haircut too there, Mr. Ariel Polanco.
You know what I'm saying? I got to keep it trimmed, keep the grass low. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sure. So then at the Roundtable Podcast, man, we in the building, man, live from New York. We're on YouTube right now. If you want to catch us live on YouTube, all you have to do is go to our Instagram, then at the Roundtable Podcast Instagram, press the link there, and I'll take you straight to our YouTube. Or you can go to YouTube, real quick, youtube.com. In the search engine, put Dinner at the Roundtable Podcast, and woo, voila, we're there, live on TV. And if you're watching it later on, in the right-hand lower corner, there's going to be a logo that says Dinner at the Roundtable Podcast. You can subscribe there to watch our other episodes and, get with it, your source to knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So today, Profits for Profits with my boy Ariel Polanco, man. Let's talk about your company, brother. Let's talk about how you've been killing the game for years, and you launched it, and the shit is popping right now, bro. I love the logo. I love everything that you're doing. Let's just give our listeners a little bit of a background as to what it is that you actually really do and what your company is about.
No doubt. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on, first of all. It's appreciated. Profits for Profits is, in basic, just the basic shit is the first thing you'll notice is it's a homophone, man. It sounds the same. It's the same sound and shit, but it's two different things.
Yeah,
but it's
like when I was saying it, I was like, Profit for Profits? I was like mind blown, like on some like Jaden Smith shit. I was like,
yeah. So that whole shit came about, man. If you want to know like the true origin, I can say whatever, but I'd rather give you the true origin story of that shit. Back in 2013, man, I would wake up every morning, like around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, every fucking morning, right? And I would start getting like these crazy, I'll call them downloads, man, because I can't really describe it as anything else. So just crazy, mad information. I'll just start writing down mad shit. You know what I'm saying? So one of these things was Profits for Profits. So the name, the image, the imagery, the logo, and everything was all part of this shit. So I wrote it down, jotted it down. Immediately I went online, opened up a email key. I went to see if the website was taken. I was like, it has to be taken because this shit's so obvious. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's easy money. It's done deal. So I registered it because it had nobody. The email was open. It was just 100% open. It didn't. After many years of study, it occurred to me what that shit really is. You know what I mean? But it was that. from the instinct that from the moment that this shit came up, it was, that's what we live in. You know what I'm saying? That's what, if you think about almost heads of every industry, they're prophets in essence. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, you know, prophetic in their shit, so they're able to achieve and attain a certain level, a certain height. Now, it's always with the intention of money, though. It's for the profit. You know what I'm saying? So I started doing mad research, and in every sense of the word. So I looked up the top 10, paid preachers, for example, in the States, like here.
Ridiculous amount of money.
Oh my
Ridiculous.
God.
Like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Real quick, our co-host John Tavar, he's been real big on researching these guys. He researches them all the time, and he sends us like links. Hey, look, this guy made $1 billion the other day.
Easy, tax-free money. You know what I'm saying?
They don't pay taxes, churches. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so. It's for me. It's like, even with the emergence of like a prophet, even if there was a prophet to be alive today, or prophets, you'd easily be able to tell who's who based on where their profits went. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not doing shit. Nobody's really doing shit for free out here anywhere, period.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's just in essence that it's where you look, you see profits for profits. You know what I mean? And that's in essence and basis, that's what it means. You know what I mean? Right. And we all kind of prophets. We all street prophets. Shout out to street prophets. We all live our own prophecy. We all have like our origin stories, our where we all come from. So we do need prophets in today's day and age, because that's how we operate. But what we do with those is really what's really important. You know what I mean? Like, if you're out here doing crazy shit, you know what I mean, these prophets, it's that's what speaks. Where you put your money, where your money lands, and the effect it has is really what does the speaking in today's day and age, man. But not even today, man, since money's existed, currency.
Right.
Currency.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I'm glad that, you know what I'm saying, that you waking up at that time in the middle of the night just to think shit through, that was like a sign from beyond. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you a motherfucking prophet. You better make some money off this shit, because you don't want people making money off of you after you die, because that's the whole thing. That's what today's topic is about. Prophets have been used for profits, right? So prophets, PROPHETS, right?
Yeah,
for profits, financially. Jesus, Gandhi, the list goes on, and these guys didn't come to the world to speak and give us a message for financial reasons. You know what I'm saying? It was the people that was riding with them after they passed away that decided to make money off of it, and including the Roman Catholic Church. The Romans, they used that as a way to conquer lands and actually become the biggest real estate owner in the world, and also the financial global power of the world, the Vatican. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you was able to see that concept for yourself and grab a piece of the pie before the elites get you.
Well, speaking on that, so it's a progression. So after I did all that, I went ahead and incorporated. So in New York City, it's very hard. It's very expensive out here,
Oh yeah.
So, back in 14, 15, I started the process, but it got finalized in 15. But it wasn't until 2016, 2017 that you got some cats out in DC or something, profits for profits, clothing, straight. You know how many people, if you do a search, my shit's already protected,
Oh, so you good,
Yeah, so, and I'm waiting for them to get and if they want, get your bread up, because I'm gonna fucking come get that shit.
You send them that cease and desist letter, man.
I'm gonna send them the cease and desist, but I'm not even trying to like. I'm watching what they doing, because if they repping right, I don't give a fuck. It's not the symbol is really.
So the symbol and the name itself, like, you got it incorporated.
Yeah.
Well, he got the logo trademark.
The trademark.
The name incorporated.
Correct. So
LLC, limited liability company, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
just like
for the name,
we got limited liability company as well.
And that's to shield you from anybody that's trying to fuck your shit up, and I would have been fucked up had it not. Yo, if it wouldn't have been for that, I'd be so fucked up in the game right now.
Man,
Trust,
tell me
believe.
about it. Yeah, 'cause that the
You,
name
you would have been one of those prophets that people
With
made
no-
profit off of it.
Exactly. Like, yo, that's my shit. But the emblem, the logo is so deep, yo. That shit is so like I learned mad shit. Like,
Let's get
mad
into the
shit.
logo. Like that logo is
Okay.
insane. Like
Yeah,
like links, right? It's like a whole bunch of links mixed together, right?
It's I had some cat do that because I like the way it came through. You know, the way it looked. I'm gonna get a little marker real quick, show you some shit.
Meanwhile, Chris,
It's-
right? You
it's-
like a gentleman, brother. I'm happy for you. You can finally probably get some good ratings on the podcast since you got a haircut now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keeping it, gotta keep it fresh.
Well, listen, I've been in quarantine mode. Now quarantine mode is over.
You probably saw my picture on the gram with my
Phase
Aztec
3
and decided to get
soon,
you
next Monday. Company, it's crazy because my company's been getting like super ready. They had like a soft opening today, getting the
Yeah.
restaurants open.
So
Bad
that
bit.
soft opening means they're selling soft meat or just like
No, it's like they do like mock service, so they like test out
look at that Tavar.
how everything
He's starting
runs.
to crack up. So Ariel,
Hi.
Mr. Polanco,
Yeah.
Our co-host here in the bottom right hand corner, he's a butcher by profession. So that's why we have the little
Straight
meat
up.
joke there going on just in case.
Straight up.
If you was wondering, we weren't saying no homo. No pause. You know?
Let's
That's all.
At least once a podcast. At least once a
Oh,
podcast.
At least once a
Can't help it.
You gotta
podcast.
get him. This is like
Yeah,
I wait every fucking week to just get him, bro. Like that's my
Every
hype.
week.
There you
Every week. But he doesn't realize how dangerous a man I am. So he
You ever
keeps-
seen that
he keeps
movie
saying-
with Jet Li that he has like that thing like that collar around his neck and then it's like it controls his hearing and this guy goes get him. That's what I hear when I see him get him and I fucking just
The loser.
Oh shit.
The loser.
you got your logo there?
You see,
Yeah,
so there.
yeah, man. My bad. I'm lost in the sauce.
There you go. Okay,
So you see this right here. You know, one of the first things that probably strikes you is it looks kind of like a money sign, right?
that's
Like you got, but you know, the first thing that downloaded into the head when the image popped in was the like money sign, but like mad fucking money. Like, you know, let's for all intents and purposes twice the amount of what the two strikes normally would symbolize. And then you have what looks to be like a halo, so it's almost coming from the sky. It's like ordained from heaven, right?
Got it.
If you look here, you have a P. You have another P here, and then another one here, and another here. So you have the 4 P's, and you also have the 4 symbols here, right? If you turn this to the side, you have a vesicus piscis. Do you know what a vesicus piscis is?
I have no
You've
idea.
seen it before. You've seen it before. You've all seen it before. Let me show you where you've seen vesicus piscis before.
You want to pull it up there for our followers on the Zoom or
Oh, okay.
You seen that?
Yeah.
How about when they do? Yeah. How about when they do that to it? There's many brands, many brands that use the vesicus piscis. There's a lot of history behind the vesicus piscis. You've seen it also like this, the Jesus fish, right?
Right. About to say that right now.
The prophet, you know what I'm saying? The prophet. This
Right.
S here, this S is merely this, right? It's the vesicus, you know what I'm saying, opened. It's like a sine wave. It's like a wave. You know what I'm saying? Like the sound, the origin. The vesicus piscis comes from the flower of life, the first sounds, the Om, the original sound where, you know, everything is vibration in existence. So us, matter, everything is just varying different vibration, you know, different frequency, vibrational frequencies, you know, that's what makes matter. So that goes more towards the depth of what the Prophets for Profits is. You know what I'm saying?
I could bring up the actual artwork of it if you want real quick.
Yeah, for sure. If you have, I'm very.
We love your chicken scratch there, but we got to get some real shits going on.
Get some real shit.
No, but he broke it down though. I like how you broke broke down each you know what I'm saying, symbol inside the symbol itself.
Yeah,
know?
and there's a lot more. There's it gets deep. Like it's a crazy. The image was like I don't know how to explain this shit. Like I would be up just chilling,
All right, so can we
and
see
then
that there now?
all of a sudden just images and thoughts and crazy shit just comes in, and I'm just struggling to write it down because it's very
Alright.
vivid.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah, we see it.
So this is
Watch
the Profits for Profits Instagram page. You guys can follow it on Instagram for Profits for Profits. So it's PHETS FORPORFITS. This is the actual logo here, done by a professional, not that little chicken scratch that Ariel Polanco was doing there.
That shit took a while. That shit was trash.
But no, definitely the explanation was definitely great. But I definitely love the whole significance behind it and what it means to have all these links together. The historic part of it, which is real great. That's awesome, bro. Definitely like the concept, and I want my hat. I've been asking for the hat for 2 years, brother. What's going on? I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
You're not lying. You're not lying. I'm like on the. I'm several generations.
Look, you guys can check out. You guys can check out the actual hats here. He has a lot of material.
Yeah, I actually went on your website to actually look at what you had. You know what I'm saying, which is dope. You know,
you got like winter socks on there. You know,
I got there's like limited drops, so I'm gonna in a couple of weeks I'm gonna take down all the hats and I'm gonna put up completely different shit. You know what I mean? That ties in with other shit for the moment. You know what I mean? Because it's I don't know how to explain it, man. There's just other shit that'll come that comes from it, like that I like pet projects, if you will, but are based from that shit. So. Just to keep it fresh, just to keep the material fresh, especially during these days and times. You know what I'm saying? Shit's crazy out here.
Mr. Ariel Polanco, just to get our listeners a little bit, what inspired you to start the Profits for Profits? You gave us a little brief background on how you used to wake up in the middle of the night, but was there something from childhood that inspired you? Something that I know you have a history in media. You had a DJ background. You were a DJ at one point for a radio station in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I did that. Yeah, I did a radio show on 91.5 FM in Orlando for about 7 years, man, and that shit was crazy as fuck. Because it's some wild ass shit. It's like doing what we're doing right now, but with no video, and you're just in a booth, and you don't know if anybody's people are listening, but you don't know who, what, where.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, and I had no
like the new age.
Yeah, and I had no boss, so to speak. So the program directors they were letting me do whatever the fuck I wanted.
Oh, wow.
So I was on there, and by law, after 10 p.m. in the United States, it's called safe harbor, FCC rules and regulations.
So you can't play like
you can play whatever the fuck you want. Rude and objectionable material.
I'm thinking like the other way.
Really?
It's the other way.
So wait, so check up on that real quick, because we might start doing the podcast after 10.
Yeah.
I can talk shit to Chris about his meats. Pause.
We already do about crazy shit.
I'm just gonna go in, brother.
You
can play crazy shit. So the FCC has a standard that. What's it called again?
It's called safe harbor. So I forgot what, 93 or some shit, the Supreme Court ruled that after 10 p.m., anything that's, rude, objectionable, whatever material can be played on FM radio, you know what I mean? Because children should be sleeping by that point. I was on there playing all kinds of shit. So I mean,
I'm like baby.
Yeah. I mean, I would get in trouble because I would play the shit even like I started at 8 from 8 to 10 in the morning, and at one point 8 to 12 in the morning. But I was playing that like Big L fucking Immortal Technique shit, like real shit records, like sometimes unedited. Like I didn't give a fuck until they were like, yo, 400,000 for every shit, 600,000 for every fuck. If the FCC is paying attention, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I will say nothing. I will play nothing. I'm good. But I was in this crazy lifestyle, right? So you meet interesting people. People call. They everybody wants to be down. There's this crazy energy, and fine. I wasn't in it for that, but fuck it. I'm here. Might as well go along for the ride. My energy was always that, and I always seen a lot of shit, but just out of nowhere, this crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Childhood, my my father was a politician in DR. You know what I'm saying? So he was part of a political party that was more for the people. I don't know. I think it was the PRD. I don't really know how that shit goes. All I
Okay,
know
okay.
is that in the late 90s, he tried running with Peña Gomez. The two opposing parties combined forces, joined ballots, and won the election, threw everybody in jail and shit. But those two motherfuckers, especially Peña Gomez in the 60s, he made a radio address and he called for a revolution in DR. And a
So sad,
revolution.
man. He never actually became president.
No, and he won it. He had it
Racism.
won, bro. He
The
had it won.
racism in Dominican Republic.
Yeah, they're fucked up, but they did some fuck shit. So they rigged the election, won, put him in, and his shit. He died shortly thereafter. Like it didn't end well, right? But when it didn't end well because of the power he held. In the 60s, he called for revolution and got one. The United States sent in 10,000 Marines into DR to stamp out that revolution, and they were killing. They killed a lot of people. They killed a lot of kids because it was kids, mostly the youth that revolted. That rose up, and they squashed that rebellion. My father got sent out of the country during that time. He got sent to Chile, blah blah blah. Came back and got into the political situation again. But shit, the politics in DR are really like any country, fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm about to say right now, like any country and any third world country, really, because
shit, we
US
look like
all that.
we looking like a third world country right about now. So I think
pandemic shit.
I think shit's gotten crazy. So I mean, I've always had a streak of like, I've always been just weird, man, just kind of different. Like I've always had a different objective in mind. Yeah, like I just like today, man, I saw these kids on the train. They were like, yo, trying to sell candies and shit. And one of them was all defeated. One of these little girls, man, these kids could have been 13, 14, 15 years old. She's like, nobody hears us. Nobody cares. Nobody's listening. I have my headphones on, man. You can't hear shit. But I heard that. And I was like, yeah, I lectured them in the fucking train. I don't give a fuck. I was like, yo, don't be self-defeated. I heard you, don't give up. Don't give up so easily. If I had money, if I had $5, $10, $15, I'd just give you the shit and not even buy nothing. Like, you don't know. You just gotta keep pushing forward. And I just want to help fucking people and shit like that. And nothing pisses me off more, bro, than motherfuckers taking advantage. Like I work now with politicians from another country.
Okay.
And all I see these motherfuckers, and this is a poor country, but they're rich. They're rich, but they're poor because of corruption. Corruption is in every facet, and that's what fucks everything up. Police would be okay, but they're corrupt, so fuck that. Government would be okay, but it's corrupt, so fuck that. Everything that corruption, religion has its purposes, but it's fucking corrupt as shit.
Of course, absolutely.
So I see this shit firsthand. I've experienced firsthand. I've seen it. I grew up in it. Like I've been victim of so much fucking bullshit. Like not even I can't say victim because I fight hard. Like I've taken University of Central Florida to task, beat them by myself. I filed a settlement with Apple once by myself, no lawyer involved. They settled with me on some shit. Yo, like I go after whenever I see fucking fucked up shit, I just attack that shit relentlessly. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
You gotta be like that. You gotta be like that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I learned my name Ariel like not too long ago. I learned that in Hebrew that shit means lion of God. So I'm like, that shit makes sense. And then after I learned what it meant, I took it very fucking personal. Like, so
I have a kind of I have a lioness thing going on with me, like a lion thing in me. My middle name is Ariel as well.
Yeah, bro, you got it in you.
You
got it in you. It's not about mermaids, nigga. It's about lions and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
But yo, that passion.
This way, buddy. I have to cut the news to you, buddy. We might just bite you.
Don't bite her. Don't bite her.
Bite you, Chris Ryder. But yeah, man. So let's get into the main topic, man. Profits for profits.
Yeah.
Why?
But that's dope, though. I mean, as you explained that to me, man. I mean, honestly, definitely has a lot to do with your upbringing as far as like what you've been exposed to. Because I mean, it could be your subconscious mind that just out of nowhere just popped up, and like you said, 3 a.m, and then just came out of nowhere. Because most of the great ideas just come out of nowhere. Like you just sit down, take it on number 2, and just pops up in your mind. So
but this was the to answer your question, to touch more on what you just said, and to answer and underscore what Nelson said. The reason because I get mad ideas, like mad shit always comes in, but why pursue this, right? Why? because it was an unrelenting. It wasn't like an idea. It was like a fucking. It was like right here. It was like It was extremely visual, and it was not like fleeting. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta write it down before I forget. Nah, it was like,
Right.
you gotta put this shit down. There was mad crazy information, even about like the planet. Like whether it's tilted on an axis or not. Like crazy. Seriously,
Yeah,
because
nah.
we supposedly we on a tilt, right? But
right. It's supposed to be. Yeah.
how you know we're not like this doing this number instead of everything on a flat fucking,
Right.
Pardon the interruption, but listen, I don't freaking sleep because all I do is think, bro. Like even when I'm asleep, I'm thinking about shit, and I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about shit. But I'm also careful what information comes in, because you might have like entities trying to take my knowledge, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And those are things that I come to question. Like, I'm an optician by trade, so I know physics and science, and what I think is about like formulas and mathematical shit going on in my head all day. Like, like,
all day.
E equals MC squared all day is in my head, bro. Like,
wild. I started looking at for some reason this week I started really looking into what the fuck that shit really, really, really means. You know what I'm saying? Because
you know what it means? I mean, some of these MCs must get this.
Some of these MCs. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means, yo. Twice, 2 times.
Twice, to the second power.
To the second power, nigga. That's 1 time. This time's this.
You gotta bring that mic game, bro. Oh man.
So yeah, man. After my rap career failed, I decided to sell clothes. That's how.
Really? You had actually rap career? Like you actually.
So all that shit that you just heard was a lie. I just couldn't make it as a rapper.
It's actually the beat that we used for the promo, for his promo today, is his beat.
I make beats.
It's a big butt of beats. That's him right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I blew you up, son. Producers on the low. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Producers like to be incognito. I'm sorry. I blew you up.
They do. I can make beats and music and produce records and rhyme, but I don't do it because I just don't have the time. Like you really have to dedicate mad time to that shit.
Yeah, that shit is.
That shit wasn't a joke. That shit was for real. Nah, but no, I really, to be honest, the reason I don't have like a fly get up, I don't even know how to use Zoom. This is my first time using Zoom and all that shit, is because I'm literally catching up on like years of like work and shit that I'm almost done with.
Thanks to Nelly Nell tutorial for that, because I kind of
schooled
you a little bit.
10 minutes flat, yo.
That's what he does for all of us,
bro. Yo, 10 minutes, Nelly got you, bro. That's it. Nigga is a Zoom instructor extraordinaire.
Zoom a letter. I need some payments.
Yeah.
Oh man. But let's get back to the main. Well, you go ahead. Sorry.
So just finish up, and then we're gonna get into the main topic.
So basically, Profits for Profits is the mission statement for that is basically each one teach one, take over the world one by one. If it means something to you, then that means something. And when I have more product, because I start with hats, that's not even like a product I'm gonna offer. You know what I'm saying? There's other things I have in the works, but it's when it comes, it's when it's out there, just follow or keep tabs and shit, because it's really like that. It'll in the coming months, like in the next 2 to 3 months, there's gonna be an explosion of everything on all of these Profits for Profits, Cannabis Creek, Charter Club. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta have you back on for that one.
There's Puff Pow, which is like a social network I'm developing for. So I've been fortunate enough to find all these domains and emails and everything open and available. So I got them all and I developed them. Puff Pow is like a social network for people that want to smoke with other people and don't exactly know how to make friends and shit. So boom, there you have it.
It's gonna be like a stoner Zoom. Like a Zoom for stoners.
Oh no, in person. Like you want to go to a party. I made a new. Yeah, it's like a stoner social community. A bunch of little like
Yeah, because you're gonna connect with like-minded people. Because sometimes it's so difficult to find that if you have a network specifically for that,
Exactly.
I get that. That's a good idea right there.
If you're a moron, you can't sign on. Like, fuck
Yeah.
it.
There's gonna be a test you gotta take, a little test.
It's gonna be like little links, like the Jesus fish, like the Jesus fish link that you gotta put together. Like,
Word up. What's the other side of this shit?
I can't get it
Jesus
together.
fish
Get me on the fucking
Crazy,
platform.
Get out of here! You're out of here! You can't join! God damn it!
Jesus
So yeah,
loves
man,
me.
that's it. Just
man.
That should be
by brick.
You know how a lot of websites have like that I'm not a robot thing, and you gotta like answer like a few like images.
I hate it.
Dude,
I hate it.
Jesus, I love
hate
you.
it.
Fish link as one of those
I
things.
hate it.
Like, if they can put it together, they could join the platform. If they can't,
Oh yeah,
that's it. They
you
can't.
can't even be down. Oh yeah.
The two of them, you can have two defaults, right? You can have the profit for profit link, right? They gotta put it together.
Yeah, if you can't get that together, if you can't get the fish or the profits for profit shit, you can't eat. You can't eat. You can't eat. You can't even come into shit, man. You're gonna get your IP will be blocked for life.
So listen, so we're gonna have you back on to talk about that cannabis thing you have going.
Oh yeah,
big.
Oh yeah.
John Tavares into that type of stuff too, and
cannabis connoisseur.
We're all into we into that.
I got a lot to say about that whole business though, because
we're definitely gonna have him back because he has a business doing that.
Oh yeah.
But profit for profits, the topic of the night. Tonight we're gonna talk about how profits have been taken advantage of after their death.
Yeah.
And people have made millions and billions of dollars off of them and also conquer lands. Jesus Christ, to start off with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. JC, man, which is just his commercial name. Because he wanted to make profits off of his prophecies, right?
Yeah.
They use Jesus as his real as the name basically marketed him. According to Roman history, the crucifixion, when they crucify people, they have a history when they do that. And the guy who got crucified that day, his name was Emmanuel, not Jesus. But what the hell is this? Watching high tech orders? What the fuck?
That's the tetragrammaton of Yahweh.
Oh, but yeah, so Jesus Christ is the number one prophet that ever existed in the history of the world, right? He's the most famous one, the most popular. We can say he's the most famous human being, right?
He's pretty famous, man.
Yeah. So his name and his teachings and his lessons has been exploited to the millionth power, with starting with the governments, the governing bodies that be in that time. The Romans, Constantine used it. For global domination, the Spaniards, when they discovered the new world, their genocide was based on that.
Yeah.
Well, if you even look at his likeness,
or you die. Crusades, holy crusades, in the name of Jesus Christ. So
even his likeness was profitable.
I just opened up the book a little bit. Let the power of Christ compel you.
But if you look at his likeness, even his likeness was a profitable thing. It was based on one of the most corrupted popes in the history of the world, Cesare Borgia. That flowing, long hair, light skin, hazel green eyes. That shit is Cesare Borgia's. And even in the Bible, it says that Jesus had dark skin and rough hair.
Yeah.
That shit was put in place, for a purpose, to have people believe that Jesus was something that he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I found that out, I was like, whoa, so you put one of the most evil men in the history of the world as Jesus Christ? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Look, Jesus, right? This guy that they all call Jesus, that they all refer to as Jesus, the Lord and Savior. He actually fucking hated money, right? He was known to have once overturned the table of the money changers, right, in front of the temple. Jesus was a rabbi, right? He was a Jewish rabbi. Yet, the majority of the Jew, you know about Jews, right? I'm not like anti-Semitic. I'm not even going into anti-Semitic rant, but I'm just saying Jews in the majority as exists now.
Anti-Semites.
They don't they don't believe Jesus even existed, right? You
Mhm.
have the 1% or the 0.1%, the Messianic Jews. They believe in the Messiah, that Jesus did exist and that he was the Messiah, but the rest of them don't. Especially the Zionist Jews.
Oh yeah, this mine is yes.
They helped in murdering him actually. So
Yeah, that's because they didn't believe
Yeah.
it to be true.
Yeah, and Jesus used a lot of cool tools like cannabis oil to help cure people, and he wasn't
really, I
allowed
had no
to.
idea about that. Really, cannabis?
Oh yeah,
A lot of wine too.
look, if you get if you go into Exodus, you can get if you go into Exodus, you can get the recipe for anointing oil, and it calls for 2 pounds of cannabism. Cannabism. That's the Hebrew name, or it was the Aramaic, whatever the fuck, for cannabis. That's where even cannabis
The
comes from.
origin of the word.
It's the
Okay,
root origin of the word. So when Jesus would go around, healing the people that have been possessed and all fucked up, like imagine if you go online right now and you look if you look at videos of like kids having a fucking seizure. If you were like 2,000 plus years ago, without the advent of modern medicine, you'd think that motherfucker was possessed or some shit. He's like, blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah,
right,
blah,
right,
blah.
right, right.
I like
You
your
know,
reenactment. Your reenactment.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. It's like if you that's probably not. It's all fucked up. I'm
We
sorry.
can't laugh
I'm
at that,
so
but I
sorry
mean,
if I
it's true
offended
though.
you.
You're right about that. That's true.
So you go to one
May
of
the
these
Lord
kids now.
forgive you, my son.
Promise for profits, I'll give you all my money. I promise. Um, so you got these kids now with epileptic seizures, blah blah blah. You come and give them some CBD, and they're like
Mm-hmm.
normal.
Gotcha. It comes down.
You
Yeah.
know. So you got Jesus running around with
Can we see that on instant replay?
yes. Normal.
Normal.
So you got Jesus running around
Mhm.
violating the rabbinic code, because anointing oil was only for rabbis. It was not for the general public. So you got Jesus running around here sharing the anointing oil with people that needed it because they're fucked up. And he's like, man, if I can help this motherfucker out with a little bit of this oil, fucking why not? Like, what's the big deal?
Right.
Well, the
right.
big deal was that he's fucking violating all kinds of shit now. He's running around talking about he's the son of God. Fucking, he's healing people with the anointing oil and shit. This guy gotta go, man. But he was like, fuck me. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck your money. Fuck your temple. The temple's in here. It's not in there. All you guys are shit. And the Jews are like, nah, nigga, you gotta go. So they offed him.
And they felt like he betrayed them in a sense because
Yeah,
he was a Jew himself. But he was anti their whole system, because he wasn't anti the Torah, because the Torah actually is the original book, right? He wasn't anti Torah. He was just anti the Jewish culture at that time, because they were so false. They were so false and phony, and they were very like, they had all this like philosophy and all this philanthropy thing going on. And the Romans, they were the Romans bitches. They were bitches to the Romans. So that he was kind of like trying to like go against the grain in that sense, right?
Yeah, man. And he went hell against the grain to the point where we are talking about him now.
Yeah.
And there's people, the way we're talking about him now, there's people like, you can go on YouTube and look up Rabbi Tovia Singer, for example. He's right now talking to somebody and proving how Jesus could not have existed, just like that.
Like an anti-Jesus campaign he got going there.
That's Jews in general, bro. Like, that's if you're not a Messianic Jew, if you're not one of those outcast Jews that they treat like he's family, he believes in Jesus, that's how they are. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You're goy. If you're not Jew, you're goy. And if you're fucking goy, like, they censor that shit. If you go and you try to type goy and all that shit on like they censor that shit. They don't even want people even knowing what the fuck that shit is, bro.
Wow. So explain to our listeners real quick what that means, goy.
A goy, goyim, is basically.
Goya tiene que ser bueno?
I'm gonna tell you why I don't eat Goya products. You know what I'm saying?
Where you go? I like
that's
to
why.
I don't think I've ever seen Nell this silly, bro.
Yo, peep this. If you don't know the game, like, everything is intentionally out there to fuck you up. Even like you pick up a bag of chips, for example, you'll see a kosher sign on it, and then you got to pay money for that shit. And it's just a rabbi, you know, it's blessed by a rabbi. But
Blessing,
you're never gonna see a real Jew eating no motherfucking potato chips, like no Lay's, none of that fucking shit, none of that shit, bro. Nah. Because they got their own codes and they take care of their own people. You know what I'm saying?
I love Knishes, by the way. I love them.
There's a lot of shit they contributed, but they've also contributed every fucking ism you can conceive. Capitalism, fucking communism, feudal, all that shit. All these crazy systems that are based upon goys and the chosen people, you know, which is arguable because the Khazarians that are in charge now didn't originate from fucking where the 12 tribes. If you're like Dominican, you're like Simeon tribe. There's the 12 tribes of Judah. Look at the black Ethiopian Jews that they're not even being allowed into Israel right now. Like the people that are claiming to be Jews right now are not technically the motherfucker, and they've been fronting for a long fucking time. You know what I'm saying? So, and it has to do with that. Their book says that but goy is anybody who's not Jewish, and you can't even really. You can convert to Judaism, but like bloodline wise, like you weren't gonna be.
You're not ever gonna be blood.
Yeah, you're not.
And that Amari Stoudemire is not like respected in the Jewish community.
It does, you convert and people will be like, yeah,
he's a converter. He's converted, but
you can convert, but
not.
You're not. It's different. It's like Michelle Obama's brother. He was during Obama's tenure as president. Michelle Obama's brother was the #1 black rabbi in the country. He was the head rabbi in the country. Not because he was Michelle Obama's brother, but because he's like OG, fucking Jew. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Kushner now and Kushner's boy. They run policy. Like there's no other reason why Jerusalem was declared, capital now. Trump did it. You think Trump's just gonna fucking out of nowhere just be like, oh, today I think I feel like fucking declaring the Jerusalem the capital of Israel and I'm gonna move the embassy there. No. He's goy though. Trump is a goy and he's probably trying to favor. But no matter how, what the fuck you do, if you're goy, you are worth less than an animal. Why do you think motherfuckers like Zimmerman can get off killing people? Zimmerman, Jewish name. Because he killed a goy. He didn't kill a Jew. You know what I'm saying? You can kill non-Jews and not get in trouble because you can do all. Read, the Babylonian Talmud. Read that. These motherfuckers try to claim that, this is not a real thing, or the Sephirah. There's so many different texts they have, but the Babylonian Talmud, the Torah. The Torah is like even the way our education system is set up. You can't go to school and just read the book. You have to go in for lecture and class and hear the shit. That's the way the Torah is set up. You gotta go. You can read it, but it's half the battle. The other half is oratory. So they have an oratory tradition for thousands of years that they've been carrying on. And the ones that you see today were a small sect at one point that survived a lot of battles that these Jews had, these so-called Jews had. So they were the minority that somehow survived and started spreading this minority theory across the board. And that's the fucking shit we have today, bro. It's some crazy shit.
It's true. You gotta remind me. It's a book I read years ago, though. I can't really find it, but I forgot the title of the book. But it's like how the Jews invented Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
they run
100%.
I gotta get that book again. I gotta reread it though because I can't really recall exactly. But it definitely goes a lot what you were saying though right now about how they really control the perception of certain things. And
100%.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like when you say like Jews, I mean it's so strong that people refer it as a color when Jews is actual a religion.
It's supposed to be right. A religion is taught as a religion. It's a religion, but it's like you couldn't go to Israel and get your birthright land there unless you got a DNA test and it showed that you were genetically Jewish. So there's markers. There are genetic markers like in any other race. So Jews, it's infiltrating the system. That's why they would use names like cats. And when they went to Brazil and they hit Brazil first in the New World, they hit Recife, Brazil. That's where their first synagogue in the New World is, right? Still there. It's infiltration, and that's it. Move on, because that's the name of it's a crazy, and it sounds crazy, and it's not being anti-Semite because Semitic is what? Look up Semite in the dictionary. I'm not even gonna say it's anybody that says some shit like that. I'm like, yo, you need to read.
That's also like I don't like clash where people just basically feel as if we're targeting, a particular
Right.
group. But you
Mhm.
just saying this person just happens just to be Jewish. You know what I'm saying? They just
Look at
happen to be Jewish.
Weinstein, Harvey
You're not
Weinstein,
just
Jeffrey Epstein. It's not a coincidence. And Hollywood, you said
Yeah,
Hollywood, John.
right.
the top
What-
lawmakers, top law protectors, which are lawyers.
Who writes the laws?
The real estate, Jewish
Who-
people run it.
Who makes the laws? Who wrote the
New York
IRX
City,
tax
listen,
code?
the New York City courts, New York City pays a Jewish realty for that building where the courts is at, 100 Central Street. That's insane.
Why didn't the money stop? Why didn't rent get canceled during this global crisis, which was also an attack on that group of people?
Can't cancel on the Jewish landlord, buddy.
Hollywood. This isn't Hollywood, but Hollywood, right?
Right.
This is imagine this is a magician stick, right? A magic stick. The sticks that magicians use is made out of what kind of wood?
Right.
Holly. It's made out of Hollywood. It's a type of wood. It's actually a type of wood.
Mm.
So that magician stick is it's a piece of Hollywood that they used to, in the days with the magic hat and the rabbits, and hey, look, check this out. They invented, there's 6 studios that run Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? So anybody in the business knows that there's 6 studios that run. I was trying to get into that business and I was recruited. This woman named Amy Gossels, you can look her up, wanted me, she's a casting agent, blah, blah, blah. Some people that I have a cousin that's an actor that that work with her and put her on.
Polanco.
Shout out to Dasha.
Orange and Black.
They put me in. Come on, on camera training, all this shit and blah blah blah. How to read scripts and copies.
Mr. Polanco.
Huh?
Should I not have shouted her out so that she was?
No, you good. No, she's good.
She's not famous. You know who she is, John Terwell. Dasha Polanco.
I can't shout Dasha without shouting Jessica, sister.
Jessica.
Everybody.
Very famous. She's very well famous right now.
But look, it's like that world. I just after I learned what it's about, like what it's really about, I don't want anything to do with that shit. Like it's not what it seems, just like magic. That's why the symbolism, that's why Hollywood is so important, because it's just a fucking imagery. It's perception, and perception is reality. People see shit, and whatever they see, they tend to believe. Like, I don't give a fuck what it is. I can go on Instagram tomorrow and post a photo of me in Uncle Scrooge's fucking money bin, diving in that bitch, and people will believe that I was in Uncle Scrooge's money bin somehow. That I somewhere, there's a huge money bin with money that I was swimming in that shit, and I'm really just whatever you put in front of people. Who was it? A comedian said, you know why they put 555 in movies? Because people are so fucking stupid that they're gonna sit there and try to call me like, hello, Ghostbusters, is that you? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have to, there's
I want to go back to that. This guy, man. This guy kills me. John, like John Terwell. We gotta have him on more times on the show.
No.
He says things like he's talking about how the Jews run Hollywood and they send us subliminal messages. We know that Hollywood is known for that, for subliminal messages, right?
Oh, 100%.
And he's talking about, before he said all of that, he's like, you seeing a stick that a magician used is hollow, right? And it's made out of wood. Hollywood.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you said that and it kind of reflects when I read the book. That's why I wish I had the book right now and kind of like, go over a little bit. But you actually nailing a lot of things where it definitely reminds me what I was reading about when the Jews created Hollywood.
Yeah, because after they invented slavery, right? So they bought the slaves. They bought the slaves. They were the insurance companies. They made the ships. They bought them here. They wouldn't sell slaves during religious ceremonies because it wouldn't bring as much money. There wouldn't be a high turnout. So after slavery was abolished, how are they going to make money off black people then? They started with the whole Sambo shit. You know what I'm saying? With the whole entertainment industry was invented when slavery was abolished because they needed. Why do you think every fucking entertainer up until today is talking about, my contract? Look at fucking Meg Thee Stallion, bro. Even the principles, they're like, the system is fucked up because the principles from way back when are the same slavery principles. Anybody in the contract will tell you what? I'm a fucking slave, bro. I get a couple cents per, it's like a fucking plan. well, who you fucking working for? Like who?
We've spoken about this on the podcast before, particularly John Tavar. He's brought up the subject of how, you know, these athletes, they're basically like slaves in a cotton field, like just playing, but they're getting paid top money. But they, you know, who's making the real money is the NBA owners. And
the idea is still the same. The idea is still the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different environment, but the idea, the concept,
it's all the same shit. It's all the
Well,
same.
that's why you got to look at what Jay-Z did with Rock Nation. Is trying to get more of that power into the artists.
Yeah, ownership.
You know, giving them more money, giving them more.
Yeah, no, he's helped a lot of people out of contracts too. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's trying. And people don't understand that. And even a guy like 50 Cent, who's really been big on, like, you know, he doesn't sign immediate talents, but he gets them contracts that are better in their favor.
Oh yeah.
And so these guys, even though you might hate them or they're trolls or whatever, but you don't see what they're doing. You know, that he's giving more power to the artists.
Like,
I think, you know,
like Rock Nation is actually, they can publish music on their own now. Like that's.
I think
it's a
man.
partnership
like,
now. You know, they're giving more money to people.
Yeah, no, but you know what? You know how hard it was to like get to that level, bro. Like you cannot publish your own music before. Like music publishing, that's where the money.
That's where the money is at, bro.
He got to make that. Yo, he made
Publishing.
that for his company. That's insane.
The
Like,
money's
and now he offers that to anybody who signs with him.
Yeah, so it's like
bro.
people want to talk all this thing about.
He's not owning you. He's just.
I mean, I get it. Jay-Z is a capitalist. He's made money, but he's done it. He does so many things that he's not even boastful about, that he helps. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's helped so many people.
True.
Yo, he got Lil Wayne off of that tax invasion.
I heard about that.
He had after Birdman.
He
And nobody
freed
talks
McMill and
about
shit.
that.
He freed McMill.
Yeah, and
Yeah, he's done a lot, man. He's done a lot. He stole
does
Jazzo
21
money. He
Savage
did
with
James
the-
Dad dirty.
21 Savage with the immigration law. 21 Savage.
Jay-Z.
21
No.
Savage with the immigration issue. Like now the NFL now cannot do music entertainment without passing it through Rock Nation.
He needs to help us then too, because like
Yeah.
people that need money, like the rest of the world and shit, like build.
But
some
he has that
schools.
philosophy where he spoke about, like, he's like, you know, I'm gonna show you how to make your money. You gotta make it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna give you the tools. You have to make it. You have to work.
You see how
Because if I'm working hard for me,
He's so cracked.
you gotta
so
be able
wouldn't
to
have
work
do
out for
that.
you.
He's over.
You know, I'm not gonna do it for you. I'm not gonna give you money. You gotta work for it. Which
Yeah, no, you can't
I'm,
feed
you
the
know,
man.
big
You
on.
feed the man, he's only
like
fed for a
perfect
day.
example. Look, perfect example. Nas.
Nah.
You think had Jay-Z not picked up Nas, that Nas would have the money he has now? Nas is talking about all this real, you know, independent, all this real shit. Oh, I'm a real rapper. This, time, the third. Law. He beat him rapping. Okay, so Jay-Z was like, okay, let me teach you how to make money off of that, nigga.
Yeah, man.
Let me teach you how to make money off of that. Come over here, boy. You know, bring him in. And Nas is now close to being a billionaire because Jay-Z, not JC, not Jesus Christ, Jay-Z. You think he did it on purpose? He called himself Jay-Z, just in case people confuse him with Jay-Z.
Hova,
anyway,
the God.
He taught Nas the ropes, and Nas is an official ambassador for Hennessy. He just sold Pluto TV for $500,000.
He has a lot of investments, yeah.
I mean, $500 million actually, $500 million. And he's on the verge of being a billionaire because Jay-Z told him, listen, I understand that we come from an era where hip hop was real and we gotta teach the realness. But dude, the only way we're gonna make an impact is by being a financial powerhouse. And I'm gonna show you the ropes. Come over here. Let me show you something.
Yeah, man. And you know, his child support payment's probably going up too, but fuck it, right?
Wow, two unknown kids, right? Yeah.
Listen,
I heard about that
married
too.
to Beyonce. He ain't listen.
No, I'm talking about Nas, man.
Bigger
Nas
than
getting
Fruits
that.
too to him.
Nas.
Nas. Yeah.
A lot of people say that Beyonce is the brain there, and I don't think so. Jay-Z.
Nah, Jay's a hustler, bro. Jay's a hustler, man.
Beyonce just shakes her
But
booty.
he knew how his money
and
wasn't
make
nowhere near. His money wasn't nowhere near what it is until after he got with Beyonce. She influenced.
But Beyonce has nothing to do with his success, brother.
I'm pretty sure he used her voice in some of his songs.
But
without
look
credit.
at his money before versus now, it's different.
She has nothing to do with his success. Trust on
I
that.
think she does because in this,
She
just in
opened
this
it up to a
aspect,
new
though,
audience.
just in this aspect,
Another demographic,
she
though.
looks good on his arm,
I agree.
and that alone is like, I'll buy his record. I'll buy his record. He
I'll
got
tell
it.
you
He
this
got it.
much.
He got it. I'll
His-
buy his record. He might got
He was
some
already
good
selling records, though. He was already a quadruple
was.
platinum artist before
Okay.
Beyonce.
His
So that
business, listen, his business decisions are not delegated by Beyonce. I'll tell you that much.
I wouldn't do
No, I'm not
business.
saying
I wouldn't
that.
do business with Jay-Z unless Beyonce was at the table. I'll tell you that much right there. I'll tell
that's
you that much.
true,
right
though.
Because he
there.
wants
Most
to see
people
her. That's
actually.
why.
Straight up. And if they
That's
wouldn't
very
have been
true.
married after she, yeah, bro. Hey, come on in, man. Bring your wife.
I
Bring
think
your
Beyonce
wife.
has a lot to do with his increase of his net worth.
Yeah, I think
However,
so,
though,
man.
let's not disregard Dame Dash. Let's not
Dame
disregard Dame Dash because Dame Dash was the brains behind Rockefeller.
Without
And
Dame
that's
Dash, there'll be no Jay-Z, bro. There's no Jay-Z without
like,
Dame Dash. There's no
Dame Dash is like the guy that really, you know what I'm
That's some
saying?
Harlem shit right now, bro. Get out of here, bro.
Nah, bro.
But
Dame
But
Dash.
Dame Dash,
Jay-Z, bro.
he was big time in that, but
Not
He
to
just had it.
he
He
had
was
a
very
lot.
arrogant. He has a lot of ego. I get it. I mean, he's very
He
hard
had
to
a
work
lot
with.
to deal with
I know
that.
actual people that told me like himself, like, yo, Dame Dash, he's the only person that really taught me about the business firsthand. The only thing is just his personality. You know what I'm saying? The guy, you know what I mean? He's just the way he is, unfortunately. But you
He's
know,
a fucking jerk off.
but yeah, man. I mean,
He's a
again, though,
bit- he's a lot. He's one of those guys
Kidding
that has
me?
no
You got the
stop.
key to
He's
me,
just-
Frank. I know karate. I'll kick your ass, buddy.
Look, if it
Nah,
wasn't for Big L, Jay-Z too, like if it wasn't for people like Big L and Dame Dash, Jigga wouldn't even be nothing, bro.
yeah, you know what? I mean, not like I can never take credit away from someone that I know this person, you know what I'm saying, you know, pay they dues, right? So I say Jay-Z did pay his dues, but honestly, you still cannot disregard the people he had behind him. And I mean, when you have people like Dame, really, you know what I'm saying, that definitely understood the business because Dame was already in the business before Jay-Z got into the business. I mean, besides we was with Jazzo, because I know the history, you know what I'm saying? So Dame already was managing original flavors and he
Original
put Jay-Z
Flavor.
on with
High
that
Power.
group.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
HP.
Dame was already in the game. He understood the game, you know what I'm saying? And Dame really fought. Like, I mean, he fought, you know what I'm saying? To get a 50-50 deal with Def Jam, that was unheard of. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's a
That was
lot.
That's the first
Unheard
of its kind. Wasn't that the
That's a
first of its
lot.
kind?
That's probably because you don't
All
see
right,
shit
guys.
like
That's
that.
when he they started that on their own.
So
Yeah, that's not a thing.
let's
Not
get
even
back to the
today.
main
That's a
topic.
thing.
That's all great. That's all dandy. But
Yeah.
listeners want
But
us to,
you know, you also had the perfect storm. You had a great businessman in
You
in
disregarded me?
Dame Dash, and
Do you hear me?
had what happened?
you just like did you disregard me or you can you really listen to me?
What are you talking about?
Okay, continue. We're gonna finish off with you, and then we're gonna get into profits for profits.
Profetas por profetas.
Okay. No, I was just saying that you had a perfect storm. You had Mike, you could argue the Mike Jordan of rapping, a great businessman.
He's
So
pretty good.
that's why it worked the way that it did.
I
You ain't gonna
can't
find a lot
hate
of Mike
Jay, man.
Jordans walking around like that now. You know.
I can't
So,
hate Jay. I can't hate on Jay, man. The only
Yeah,
whack
he's the
verses
GOAT.
I've heard, I've only
Period.
heard whack verses from him again. Pre Big L, pre him meeting Big L is when I heard whack Jay, you know, sound like Das Effects shit. But after he switched his flow up, you know, and he just got in depth, he's solid. He's if you're into money, if you're into profits for profits, you know, if you're into like profits,
You're learning
have
the
to fuck with
algorithm,
Jay.
brother. You're learning
you
the algorithm.
gotta fuck with Jay. You can't not fuck with Jay.
You're learning the algorithm, bro.
The
Like,
GOAT. He's
The
the
GOAT.
GOAT. He's the greatest of all time, and there's nobody in the game
that ever
who
lied.
is as important as Jay-Z. There's nobody. No, you can't name one person. Musically, business-wise, music acumen, what he's done for the community.
No,
There's nobody better than
he's
Jay.
an outlier.
Nobody greater.
No one's done what he's done, so to speak. No,
Nobody.
he's in the class by himself.
Yeah.
That's why he's the Mike
Lyrically,
Jordan. He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Nobody can
all
say
around.
otherwise.
Tekashi 6
I-
times with the screen.
I think Jordan. I mean,
Tekashi's a phase. He's not gonna last for much longer.
so who's LeBron then?
LeBron is
Who's
definitely
LeBron?
Tekashi's LeBron.
Nah.
I say Kendrick.
Yeah,
I'll give
he's
it
the
to Kendrick.
flopper.
Tekashi,
He's the
LeBron.
flopper that switches teams, that is not
I'll give it
loyal
to
to one
Kendrick.
team, who talks a lot of shit.
Man. Here we go. Here we go.
Hating ass.
Jay-Z is like the killer instinct Michael Jordan type guy. And
He's the GOAT.
6ix9ine
There's
is the one
nothing
that
nobody can say
comes
about it.
I like, yeah.
You can't discredit that shit. You want to go? Okay, let's go. Let's go
Yeah.
catalog.
I got more Jay-Z records
go.
probably than any other artist though, so I can't even say shit. I can't
know,
talk shit. I got
he's the
too
GOAT.
many
Jay
Jay-Z
definitely,
records.
yeah, he's up there. I would definitely put Jay up there.
Too
So
many records.
one last
He's
thought
the
about
GOAT,
the whole
period.
one last
Yeah.
thought about the whole hip hop thing, and then we're gonna move on to profit for profits. We gotta
Wow.
get off the subject a little bit,
For
which
sure.
is great because we're very versatile on this podcast.
But I mean, Jay-Z could be viewed as a prophet, right?
It all ties in. I was gonna say it all ties in
Jay-Z is
because
called a
Jay-Z,
profit for
It all
profit.
ties in.
Ties in.
Hova, you know what
It all
I'm saying?
ties in,
Jehovah
Nelson. It all ties
That's a
in.
great bring. That's a great bring.
is the profit for profit OG.
Over. That's right.
How about a fucking supermarket using the best butcher in town for profits? How about that?
Yeah, how about I
Profit,
sell you
profit.
for $99.99 a pound, Nelson? 'Cause you got a lot of nice interstellar
There you
marbling there, buddy.
Ah,
My meat is good, bro.
This stuff
Pause.
right
My meat is good. Pause.
You got a lot of good marbling, Poppy. You eat a lot of nice stuff.
Mi carne is bueno. Mi carne is
So, you
bueno.
know, if anybody
No
knows about
comment.
marbling, it's a lot of nice
Mi
interstellar
carne
fat
is
that gives
bueno
you a
como
nice
Goya's.
juicy steak. You heard me?
So yeah, so
All right, so
Jay-Z
what we got next?
was a prophet, but Jay-Z,
Jay-Z could definitely
Jay-Z,
be
listen, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna be
considered
like
one.
this. I'm gonna be like this. And listen to this, guys. I've said this before on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I quote myself right now. Dicka John Tavares, he's laughing. Starting to laugh.
No.
Hip hop.
Just waiting for you to say
Hip
it.
hop. The original hip hop in general is about a message, right? And what do prophets do? Prophets give out messages. So the white man figured out, oh shit, this fucking genre is becoming mad famous because of the message, right?
Correct.
So we need to make profits off of these prophets spreading these messages, right? So thank God that Jay-Z wasn't like JC and got fucking exploited.
Do you know why?
He took
'Cause
his
he was-
shit.
But it's the main reason why
I'ma
music
get
is
off
the way
this a
that
little
it is
bit.
and so dumbed down and so destroyed is because of the profits for it. You know, they saw that, hey, we could control the masses by making them listen to garbage all damn day. And what did hip hop start out as? As a story about the ghetto. And they figured that they can take a sample of a 4-second track and rhyme to it and tell their story. And look at what that's done for a lot of people who necessarily would not have been as, you know,
Lost tribe.
influential,
Yeah.
rich, successful. That's why it was that song. I think Snoop Dogg made a song
God's
about
work.
that shit. You know, like what would the game have been like if it didn't have this, you know, the cats that it did, or if it never was invented anyway.
For real.
Who knows?
And that's like a gift from God. Because outside of hip hop, the only other true original American form of music is jazz. So there's no music.
That's true. And I mean, jazz, hip hop derives from jazz music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's very true, though. But go ahead, you want to say something? Did it cut off?
I'm hearing some crazy ass dumping from downstairs. I don't know if I'm gonna have to fuck somebody up. That's what I'm just thump. I'm hearing a lot of thumps. I'm gonna have to fuck somebody up. For real. Yeah. I'm fucking around with these motherfuckers. That's a prophecy you can count on. But I don't want to lose no profits, so I might keep it.
No. Let's not get into that.
Nah, but yo, that's what it is, man. We're like God's lost tribe out here. And we stumbled upon hip hop. It was gifted to us because we prophesized through it. If it wasn't for mid to late 90s hip hop, motherfuckers wouldn't even know nothing about a lot of shit. Like there was so much prophecy encoded in those lines. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy. It doesn't exist anymore.
You had to give it up to. I think '93 was probably the biggest year for that.
That was a big year.
You know?
That was a big.
All I'm gonna say is that
because before that, like, you know, hip hop was like small time. Like, you know, you would be in stadiums, you know, outside of a couple people. It wasn't as global, and they really took it
Yeah,
to that place was
that's the
93,
whole
and a lot of people
The whole
came out.
point, Chris, right? That was trying to say that when they seen how impactful hip hop was with the message,
Yeah.
hip hop was about
Yep.
teaching you about life situations, telling you don't
Stories.
do this corner,
Oh,
don't do this,
Knowledge,
don't,
yo.
they had a-
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They see that people was adhering to that. You know, like, oh
yeah.
shit, these motherfuckers are prophets. So we gotta
Especially with
make
that
profit.
5%.
Then they took it and they
Yeah.
destroyed it by making people fucking
because-
rap about lean and
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
because they
and
seen-
shooting guns
seen
and
the
getting
narrative of
doped up.
Listen, they one at a time, guys. They seen how powerful the message was, and they said, "Oh shit, how can we control these?"
Yeah, and they destroyed it.
How can we control?
Well,
them? Let's infest them with
Yeah.
gang music, with gangster music, so they can kill
Destroy-
each other and
Well,
sell
that-
drugs and go to jail. That we can make profits off of slavery for free
Profits off of
labor in jail. Blah blah blah.
Well, why? Because they're goy. Okay,
Goy.
that's why. That's why. That's why. That's how it all ties in. That's how this all ties in. You know what I'm saying?
And that's so true because I mean, as you say that, I'm thinking about how when the riots took place with the Lightning King, the normal record at that time was Public Enemy, Fight the Power.
Power.
Right
Now
there.
the normal
And that
record is
record's still relevant today
And
too. It's
talking
crazy.
about that,
Uh-huh.
I seen this documentary. You guys, I don't know if you guys see the Netflix War on Drugs thing. That whole contract thing that it was doing in the on the Nicaraguan forest, during the Ronnie King riots. The commissioner of the Los Angeles police actually implemented that same concept to an attack on drugs supposedly onto Los Angeles.
Motherfuckers.
Militia shit, bro. Like they went in there. That's why the NYPD and the LAPD, they actually have paramilitary weapons, bro. Like, yo, you cannot start a war in New York. That shit will be over for the niggas. You know what
Fast.
I mean? Like,
Real quick.
they got shit that'll blow you to shit Marines.
You have to disable. You have to drop it. You have to explode an EMP and fuck everything up in order to take that system down.
How you think firecrackers are illegal in New York? And we have so many firecrackers blowing up the last 2 months.
For
Let's
real.
talk about that. Like, what the fuck is that?
everywhere, right?
This is not annoying too. Shit.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it stopped. It stopped. That it wasn't like bad as it was. That shit was like
Yeah, it was pretty
nonstop. Because you
That
know the
was
city
word
probably got
up.
tired
Word
of.
up. Word up. They're saving for the.
But
they're
you
saving for
notice it's
next
not as
week.
bad. Because what they do was that they will follow people, and they would camp out of major like firecracker stores in Pennsylvania. Then they'll follow them back and like
What the
tag them.
fuck? Oh no.
Yeah, like Nelson
fucked
posted
up.
about them dudes that got caught with like what was it, 6 G's of fireworks that they got tagged
I
with.
didn't post it, but yeah.
No, you put it on the group chat, but you know.
But it's a lot of
what it was.
ignorance going on too. Because I done seen it like putting fireworks with a homeless man sleeping.
Oh, that's
like,
fucked up.
This whole
It makes
it's
you
just
think.
like,
It makes you think if those things are like purposely put there for us to like act stupid.
I mean, it's
But there was
conditioning
a
for
bunch
sure.
of like
It's conditioning.
bunch of like that stuff with that shit. But
All right, guys. So listen. So back to Profits for Profits. I'm going to share this for you guys real quick. We touched up on Jesus Christ and how he was exploited, right? And the reason why we most of the world is of Christian descent, whether it's a Catholic denomination or Protestant, whatever the case is, because it breaks down to many denominations. Let's talk about another. I'm going to share this real quick with you guys. Share my beautiful screen.
That's crazy.
Look, that's us again on YouTube Live. Oh, how awesome. Here we go here. Shit, I have so much shit on my shit. Let's go here real quick and I'll show you guys what we're looking at real quick. Okay, I'm having technical difficulty. I think they shut me down, guys. They shut me down.
You want a prophecy? You want a prophecy while you were waiting for you to?
Right here, look. So Jesus Christ is the top prophet of all time. Obviously, we spoke about that.
Of all time.
And let's move.
and look at that! Look at that likeness, man. That's Cesare Borgia right there.
There you go, brother. And let's switch. Let's go down to Paul the Apostle, which was a big one too, doing the Greek. Basically, he taught the gospel of Christ, and he's considered one of the most important figures of that age, and he founded churches in Asia and in Europe, and took his advantage of being a Jew and a Roman citizen at the same time. So let's talk about him. Any knowledge on that, Mr. Prophet for Profits?
Not as much as Didymus Thomas,
All right, so let's go.
Jesus's twin brother.
All right, so let's move down to
Um,
Muhammad. This
um,
guy, Muhammad, has been exploited so much because there's jihads done in his name.
So if you go on Instagram in the city, you probably in the past few months, you've probably seen that one guy saying, hold on, let's see if I can get it, my friend. Donate a brick. We're building a big Muslim center in the biggest city in the world, New York. Buy one brick and help build. You get 10 bonus Ramadan points. Right?
Really?
That's what he said.
Yeah, what the hell?
He said, during Ramadan, it shit counts for more. I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah,
let's move on to Muhammad then. So
Muhammad.
Let's give a little brief background. Let's thank
Islam.
ranker.com for giving this his information.
All right.
So he was an Arab religious, social, and political leader, founder of Islam.
Indeed.
According to the Islamic doctrine. He was a prophet and confirmed most of the monotheistic teachings preached by Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and other prophets.
Correct.
His view as the final prophet of God in all main branches of Islam, and is the modern denomination divergence from his beliefs. So Muhammad, let's talk about him. We all know about Muhammad. Let's chime in on Muhammad real quick.
So Muhammad,
the one that makes the chopped cheese in the deli in the corner. Right?
That's what I was just about to say, man. That's the end of it. That's the man. Muhammad was that guy. You know what I mean? He was a man, right? That heard not because I say that in the sense
he was
like
an Anunnaki, brother. Get out of here.
He was like he wasn't like he didn't walk that thin, straight, noble line that a modern Muslim would walk today, because he was not that dude. But when the angel, I believe Gabriel, spoke to him, presented himself to him in the cave or some shit, he got the messages. He got the messages, and he reformed. Kind of like, I don't want to say much like Brother Malcolm did. I think Brother Malcolm was more of a progressional teaching and transformation into Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. But Muhammad was that dude that he was according to Islam, the last prophet sent by Allah. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that there have been and are others after, many others actually. But I don't believe like the propaganda that is put forth on Muhammad. I do believe that the religion of Islam has been somewhat corrupted as well.
Of course, yeah, I agree.
Down to the direction in which they're going around the Kaaba. Like, even like there's a lot of the Saturn cube and the symbolism there, and there's a lot. I try to stay away from religion, organized religion, because I know the purpose of it, the origin, and it has a purpose, but not in today's world and society. Like, if there's a religion motherfuckers want to be believing in, it should be like AI or something, like, technology or some shit.
No, I get what you're saying, though. I mean, talking about the root origin, of religion is Waligari, which means thought from progress, which means basically to prevent you from progressing. That's why religion is a controlling mechanism.
Oh yeah.
So that goes back with the root origin of words. You know what I mean? I think to really understand words, you have to go back into the root origins of what that word is defined, the way it was defined before. You know, to get a better understanding. Because it just like it rung bells with me right now when you said that religion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I'm about to say is just that, again, with like Muhammad, first of all, Muhammad is like the most common name in the world. Like everyone knows a Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? Everyone. There's no way you never pass by Muhammad, But I have read the Quran, not entirely, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I really didn't dive into the Quran like that. I read it, but not the whole book. But I do recognize Jesus as a prophet too.
Oh, yeah.
Iran. You know what I'm saying? So he is actually recognized.
Yeah,
Wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Bible, the Bible, the Hebrew Torah, and the Quran all share the same exact first part, which is the Old Testament.
Old Testament. The Old Testament is the Torah. The Torah.
Yeah, Torah,
Genesis.
the King James Bible or the New whatever. All those books is the same exact book, so they all have the Old Testament in common.
Yes, because the Torah is the original book because Jewish people are the chosen ones. So they were the first. They were the first. Yeah, that was one of the actually first documented religious beliefs.
Yeah,
in a sense.
You know, it's deep. It's a deep rabbit hole, man. Especially when it comes to that, because you can get into like Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, and that's a crazy little rabbit hole. And a lot of these things, like I'm seeing a lot of things now that have to do with things that are in that realm, like cartoons talking about avatars.
Guys, real quick,
and
continue. You see, Chris Riley looks kind of dark.
All right, I can't even see you right now.
Like,
don't be dumb.
Manifesting right
The
now.
logo, but I can't even see you.
The
Super dog, bro.
The Messiah of all butchers.
Hiding out.
He's hiding out.
Don't be shy. Come into the light, my son.
Come to the light. Come to the light.
Yo, you guys seen that meme of Homer when he hides in the bushes? Like, that's what he's trying to do.
He's sliding.
Oh,
slowly.
man.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think that
Oh, my son,
any of these
he's
people
wide awake right now.
Dang, what time is it? 9 o'clock. I
Just a
think,
matter of
look,
fact,
if any of these
Chris
castles,
son, his name is Jeremiah. Very biblical there.
that is a straight biblical name.
Well, the reason why the name was chosen was because in the first passage it says, "Before you were born, I knew you." So it's kind of like a saying of you're destined for greatness even before
Nice.
you were born.
Very
So
nice.
that's why his name was chosen that way. It was because, you know, destined for greatness before you were born. So I want him to be great. And why not start with a name that's destined for greatness? So that's the origin of the name.
Your name is Christopher, so you was like
Christ. It's called
Christ
bearer.
Some shit like, right?
My name means Christ bearer.
Christ, the bearer of Christ.
Christ
bearer.
You Christopher the meat bearer.
He bears the Christ.
Yes.
Caras.
So let's talk about how Muhammad has been exploited too.
Oh, man.
He's been exploited too by the Islamic rebel or the Islamic
Well, religion, I mean,
in general is
religion itself. Like, I mean, you basically be brainwashed. But I want to, I guess, elaborate on that because, I mean, again, I could definitely go on a rant with that one. But I mean,
that's good, brother. We want you to rant, brother.
Rant.
You've been very quiet, Mr. Sneaker School.
Oh, listen, man, I'm out, you know what I mean? It's our guest's moment, you know what I'm saying? I definitely want to get to know more about, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like, what's your ideas, especially with the name, you mean proper for profits.
Sure.
But I mean, religion has always been a way that we stated earlier, as far as like the root origin of the word religion, which is oligary, which means stored from progress. So it prevents you from progressing. So, you know, going back into like the root origin of words, you get a better understanding of what the actual term means. You know what I'm saying? So religion has always been a way to really control people and keep people divided, and also where you can make them where if you do this, you'll be rewarded. If you don't do this, you will face consequences. That's why we created heaven and hell. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we have these extreme, you know, these radical, you know, religious people that will actually give up their lives because they are promised if you do this, once you die, you go to heaven and it'll be a pound of how much gold or whatever you want to call it waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? And they you know, they become easily brainwashed.
A pound of haracas. You get there, you're like, oh shit.
A pound of hashish.
This is supposed to be grade A, baby. You got me some stems in here. What the fuck? Yeah, nah.
If you commit jihad, you're promised.
No, you're right though.
Million pounds of grade A meat.
Yeah.
It's a control mechanism, and you have to think about why though, because like I'm not totally against controlling a population, and the reason why is because sure, we can sit down here and use technology and sit down and have a civil fucking conversation. But what about all those other motherfuckers out there that are
Ariel, you sound like Skynet right now, brother. I think
but listen. if you don't have a way of controlling other things in general, right? You'll have a fucking problem on your hands.
So in other words,
Now-
you're saying find a way to put some sort of stability. Like we need some sort of stability, which I totally understand. I definitely get what you're coming from.
It has to be
Yeah.
a balance. Everything is a
Uh-huh.
balance in the universe.
Yeah,
You can't have something without the other.
that's the key, balance.
Just-
It has to
just
be
think
an
about,
equal
like,
proportion.
the
I wish it
whole-
was
the whole
it was-
concept.
I wish the balance was more like 80-20, like 20% fuckboy shit and 80% real shit.
But it's a reversal.
It's 80-20, and that 80% of the people are fucked up in the game because 20% of the people are making it that
1% and
way.
99%, really. If you think
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
99.
Because human
Because right
beings
now
can't
there's
be
80
trusted to do the
80%.
right thing. They can't.
There's
They
80%
can't.
of fuckboy shit and 20% of real shit. If it was all the way around, it would be better.
Yeah, I know. But there's fuck people in charge, and they program other people to
There
be
you
fuck
go.
people too. You
There
know,
you
that's
go.
that's where having control
Well,
of the
that's the truth.
media and the music you hear, the images you see, and the text you read,
Absolutely.
having control over that is having control over everything. Because if I were to control the narrative, you say you control everything, dude, everything. And
Absolutely.
religion at this point has become more destructive than beneficial. At one point in humanity, we needed it. Now we don't, because
But we thought we needed it.
we thought, well, again, think of
Because,
people sitting
yeah.
around here. You have to look, there's two separate like origins. You have the four original man of Earth, like the Asian, the black, the white, and
Oh my
the
God, so this
native.
leaves the time. Thank you. Thank you.
Yo, and then you
All
have
original races.
there's something else at play here. So you can't have pyramids of those stature built to true north to one degree, but also like perfectly, aligned
Aligned with each
the
other.
Orion's belt, constellation, the
Yeah.
Sirius star system. You can't do that without having, and you can't just get here. I mean, sure, we've been around for over 100,000 years. Like there's text, there's manuscripts for 80,000 years old and shit. But the information in these fucking manuscripts is what's interesting, because it's and that's why I was talking about Kabbalah earlier, because there's so much mathematical information that there's shit that's in use today by people that, again, it goes into, now you want to talk about how Jay-Z, how he can be so successful, not why, but how, going into that shit, you know what I'm saying, and how he was brought up, who was around him, who guided him and navigated him through this world.
Well, maybe he had it on Sally.
He had an Uncle Herkimer for sure. You know what I'm saying?
He had somebody.
He said,
Watch the
listen.
game.
He said,
for
listen.
sure.
He was like this. He was like this. Jay-Z was like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally from the gut.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there's
he has a lot of
And
he had a
that,
lot of
nigga,
Jewish.
and
He had a lot of, he in the interview said it. He was taught by the Jews in his neighborhood, the elder Jews. You know what I'm saying? He was in one of these. He was around in Marcy is right next to one of these Hasidic communities. Historically Hasidic communities. So they're, dude.
Well, you're right about that. What's your take though about numerology though?
It's everything. It's everything. Everything is numbers too. Like it's so crazy how it's intertwined.
the universal language of the universe.
yes, the
That's
universal
the only
language
thing
is
that's
numbers.
universal. That's it.
Zeros
That's
and
it.
ones.
Mathematics.
So like when
That's
you
it.
the
Mathematics.
month you're born, the day you're born, the year you're born,
That all
the
matters.
letter of your first name,
Yeah.
all that has a significance as far as like, you know what I'm saying?
It does.
Oh yeah, everything. It's all mathematical. It's all numerical. You were talking about
Yeah,
these.
actually,
You were talking about these. You think about, you learn these. Physics. You learn these formulas and all this shit. And as long as you've even had exposure to it, your mind uses that shit every day in every way, and you don't even realize it.
that's true. Yeah, I agree.
That's why when you go to college, you be like, why the fuck I gotta take calculus for? Nigga, there's a reason you gotta take calculus.
Earthworms.
That shit is
perform
gonna
calculus.
affect your life some way or another.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're a fucking dolphin and you spend the whole day like high.
Gotta calculate that,
Gotta calculate
that dope,
the
baby.
That's that brown butter, baby.
That brown, all that shit. So numerology is very important. It's extremely important because it's everything, down to the first real number. What's the first real number is zero. You know
Zero.
what I mean?
Zero,
It's
one.
How come? Listen, how
the first
come?
integer.
I have a quick question for you.
Mhm.
This is gonna bug you out. It won't, because you probably already thought of this, because you're from another world just like us.
Nah.
You're an Anunnaki. I know. I see it in your face. fucker.
Anunnaks forever,
So
bro.
anyway, why do we start to count at 1 instead of 0? So instead of we do it now, right?
Mhm.
But we never had like the year 0 until year 10 came, until year 10 or 20 or 100. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and you know, just recently it got changed from
that was a whole year
BC
from
to
0 to
AD.
1. That was a whole year.
Yeah, it used to be AD and then BC, right?
Yeah.
But now it's not like that. It's CE and BCE because because what is AD? What was AD? Anno Domini.
Yeah.
You know, it's
After the death of Christ.
and they don't believe in him, so it's no longer before Christ. What the fuck? 0 is that, you know? So it's
Take Christmas in the workplace, you get fucking fired probably.
now it's before Common Era and
I was
Common
saying.
Era. Yeah,
Right,
so
right,
they
right.
took that out. They got him out of the schools. They're like, fuck this guy
Right.
and fuck this whole timeline shit. Why, dude? That is a great question. Why this Gregorian calendar starts at 1 AD or 0 AD? Does it even start at?
Because if you think about it, the whole DNA structure and life as it is in the universe, it all deals with zeros and ones. So why don't we use 0 as the number one number?
I think in there's people that are on this heavy. Like, do you know what's his name? Terrence Howard.
Oh my god, I love Terrence Howard, the actor.
Yo, the actor. Look into his videos where he goes into that shit right there.
Zeros and ones.
He's like, how come 1 isn't divisible by 0?
Yeah.
Or it's like if you have 1 of something and there's nothing to divide it upon, you still have this one thing, don't you?
Well, right now, as we're broadcasting John Tavar, Chris Ryder, and Mr. Polanco, this broadcast, all it's saying to the rest of the world, digitally, is zeros and ones, buddy.
That's it.
So I'm looking at here. It says that the year 0 doesn't exist in Anno Domini, but it exists in the astronomical year numbering.
So why don't you share it with us?
Okay.
0, man. 0 is a mystery. 0 is.
Oh, you disabled it.
It's a.
You disabled it, Nelson.
Yeah, it's O. It's that.
Right.
It's that variable, that unknown.
Yeah, but as you say that, I think about it where it's a common starting point. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about above sea level, below sea level, but it has to be a line that goes in between sea level and below sea level. And that's the way I think about the number 0.
But why do we use 1 as being the best? Why can't 0 be the best? Because it's the start of everything. If I was to say,
kind of like 0.
You was to tell me who's number 1, I'd be like, you could be number 1, but I'll be number 0, fucker.
You know what it is, though?
If you have in your hands, if you have 0, you have nothing. But if you have 1, you have something.
I guess 0 is not 0. It's not nothing. 0.
There you go. The quantity.
It's quantitative. You can quantify 1, but you can't quantify 0.
You got it all wrong. 0 is not.
I mean, you can, but I'd rather have
nothing. Excuse me, guys. 0 is not nothing. 0 is the start of everything. It is something. It's
so let's trade money, and you stay with 0.
We'll have $1 to see who has more, huh?
If I got 0.99, nigga, that's something.
I mean, I'm not saying it is nothing. What I'm saying is that it kind of like thinking like, well, if I have 1, I have. But if I have 0, I have.
But 0 is nothing. 0 denotes nothing.
Yeah.
But it's nothing is still something.
But
you know what I mean?
But I get what Nelson's saying by having a starting point, by saying you go from 0 to 100 real quick.
I just got mind blown.
0, and it starts. It's a starting point.
That's a frame of reference. So, and no matter where you're at, you need a frame of reference, a beginning point, because if not, so the part of this is the perversion of science, right? So numbers, quantities, all that shit those are units of measurements that we use in science that some motherfucker thought it would be a good idea to apply outside of science, right? So like hours in a day and like minutes and all this shit, and let's apply it to like real life shit instead of just calculations and all this other shit. So it's a perversion of numbers, but in real life, the first real number, like yo, the first real nigga, this shit is real, is 0. So in theory, you should be like, I'm number none, I'm number 0, whatever, because number 1 is really number 2.
It's like you know how bad I feel for 0. I feel as bad for 0 as I feel for how people don't know that Sunday is the first day of the week. That's how bad I feel for 0.
Sunday's the first day of the week.
Sunday is the first day of the week. It is.
Well, I was looking
is.
at it. That's like
It is the
supposed
first
like
day of the
Sunday.
Is
You know what's crazy? My old
So,
job.
you know how Sunday gets
they-
fucking Sunday gets the can.
You know what it is?
Sunday gets like looked at like fuck Sunday. 0 gets looked at the same way. Fuck
Yo,
0.
word up.
But you
Zero
know,
is
but
Sunday.
no, you know what's crazy about that?
Systematic oppression.
I
So
had
there's
a
6
job
days?
that's payroll started on Sunday. So the Saturday was the last day of the week. So the only job I've ever had where Saturday was the last day of the week and Sunday was the first day of the week.
Well,
And the
your
schedules were
the
made
guys who
from
own your
Sunday
company
to
are smart
Saturday.
as fuck.
They're Jewish too.
No, he was actually very Italian.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he wasn't
Got
Jewish.
Jewish.
He was very
Very
Italian.
Italian.
He got a Jewish accountant, goddamn.
He was American Italian. He wasn't like
Okay.
over like Italian. He was
So you
American
have an accent and all that though.
He was one of those tough guys, eh? You think he's a tough guy?
Yeah, he was a tough guy.
Eh? He's a
No,
real
He was a
tough.
paisan.
Tell
The
Johnny
paisan.
Oreo.
But yeah, that was weird because I was like, why, is that the case? And even my job now, like everything is like 89 or 90. It's not 99,
That's so this is this is a
weird.
trick. Like I learned this in marketing, right? This is so insane, John Tavar. I need you to listen to this, buddy. You're
I am
acting like a fighter right now.
Listen with your ears, not with your eyes, brother. Remember that.
Oh, damn, brother. But listen, but the eye is quicker than the ear, you heard? Anyway, roof. Anyway, because 186 miles per second travel through your optic nerve. Anyway, so it's just like, it was crazy, right? Anyway, the whole thing is like this. I lost my whole concept, what I was going to say. Fuck, I fucked up.
Train of thought.
But we're live, so I got to continue to.
Continue.
What I was going to say was, look, the marketing, right?
There you go.
They say that if you market your products like at, let's say, $9.99 versus $10 or 99 cents versus $1, like psychologically that affects the consumer.
Yeah, it does.
Cent
Oh yes.
is worth that much.
Yeah,
That's
it's true.
fucking insane.
100%.
It's all psychology, absolutely. That's all. It's all. You know, what I'm saying, a way to really, strategize as far as like how to manipulate the minds of people. You know, what I'm saying. So he's right about that, because I mean, it's a purpose where they put the 0.99 instead of just putting 1.00. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the way our brain, because our brain is crazy, the way our brain works, it could be easily manipulated, easily the brain.
So,
You know what I'm saying? And these people, they study this though. They go and they do their research. They spend hours and hours. I mean, just countless and just trying to figure ways how can we manipulate the masses, because they understand the science of how the brain works.
yeah, they scienced that shit. They figured it out, and I mean, in my opinion, the future of that is Neuralink. Like when Elon Musk's so in my opinion, movies like The Matrix and Terminator, shit like that came from the same place, right? The same woman that had that vision. The same,
Right.
She had a vision, but it all seems to be following that that trajectory. You know what I'm saying? Like because of the natural, almost the flow of things. When it comes down to, yo, my bad, there's somebody downstairs, yo, losing their shit, like they're screaming like psychotic, crazy
Word.
banging,
Oh,
crazy
okay.
screaming. Goddamn. But yeah, like the future is like more robotic. Like we will eventually have to merge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so that we can kind of be on that level playing field, or merge with the machine, because dude, everything is headed in those prophetic ways. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it definitely, when you said Terminator, though, that's like, it struck me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because
That's the perfect.
yeah, go ahead now. You wanna?
Well, no, has been big on the Skynet lately.
Oh, James Cameron is a beast, bro. Like, listen, like you said, like, and this fucking Chris, you were away, probably like the doing hand-to-hand meat sales while we were saying this. But
What?
He was saying,
What does
like,
that even mean?
he sells meat out of his comb and shit. Like,
No, I don't.
like
I gave his boy one piece
he's
of
like the
meat, and he's
bootlegger,
saying
the
that I'm
bootlegger,
selling shit.
the
Like, I
bootlegger.
You
gave
got like
him
a
one
trench
piece.
coat where you open up. I got all kinds of sauce.
Like,
I
oh,
gave
no,
him one
downstairs. He's like, don't talk
piece.
about it on the phone, fucker.
Keep it on the
And
low.
you got me picked it up, and now I'm this big like
Use a
meat seller.
landline. Use a landline. Don't talk more than 15 seconds, you idiot. He closes on you and shit.
God, yo.
But anyway, so while you was gone, we were talking about the Hollywood. You know how Hollywood is controlled by a group of people, and it all has to do with
No, I was listening the whole time. I was listening.
So Hollywood, right? So if you think about it, a wood, like magicians use a stick, right? That's hollow.
I was listening. I heard everything.
You heard that? Okay, so
I heard everything.
Hollywood is very big on giving us subliminal messages and introducing things to us so that we could gradually get used to it, right? So the Terminator movie with James Cameron, right? Was James Cameron, which is the Beast, right? Was it? Yeah, James Cameron. Yeah, it's James Cameron.
Yeah. That was one of his first.
So the whole artificial intelligence thing with Skynet and all that, we saw that there. And if you think about everything that's going on right now in this day and era, that's what we're living right now. Like, we're controlled by a central system, algorithm, right?
Ones and O's, baby.
Yeah, and they dictate. And Procter & Gamble, right? We were talking about marketing. They actually own a stake in that, where they control like every fucking brand that you might know. They Procter & Gamble, Mad Men. You've seen the series, you have to see it. Yeah. It's crazy. So Skynet, it's just a concept in a movie, but in real life, it actually really does exist. You know what I mean? It's a system that actually gathers information. So last week we had a marketing strategist, right, on our show, that he actually explained it a little bit. And maybe a lot of people didn't catch it, but he said that if you go to the Google search, any search engine, right, and you type in what, just the word what.
Yeah, sure, right now.
Yes, that fucking search engine is grabbing that what, and at the same time, there might be other millions of people typing in what. It's gathering information from all those millions of people plus you, and whatever you type, it builds its own intelligence of that. So even if it's something that the Google search engine doesn't have in their system as an actual fact, it creates a fact off of what you wrote in the search engine. You see what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? It creates a fact off of that. Like, it creates a system, a derivative off it. So everybody else who uses those keywords that you typed in for the search engine, it automatically becomes part of the artificial intelligence world. And then eventually it has a mind of its own. So the next time that you type in what if, there's going to be a gazillion what ifs from different people. And then from there, it builds up different systems. That's artificial intelligence.
Do you know of do you remember what happened in Skynet in the Terminator? Do you remember what Skynet did?
No, of course, I destroyed it. No.
So what's happening now, when I look at COVID, it looks like something Skynet would put together. Because it attacks too many different points at once.
Look at Chris Wright. He's so cute. He's like this. Look.
And it creates these algorithms that it puts out. Because what we're on, like the D wave 3 now? Is it the third?
Yes.
So how long, what would it take for this D wave to jack into the internet, which is connected to everything, which is why IPv6 was so important? That shit will control, because we're not dealing with ones and zeros no more. It's not ones and zeros no more. It's 1, 0, and both. In any fucking, it's shit that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, and it exists right in front of our faces right now. Right behind you, there's like an artificial intelligence system or force field understanding everything that you're saying.
Everything. And this is built in. The AI is the algorithm is what shows the videos that you see, the order in which they're shown on the social media.
Oh yeah.
So it's not even a person orchestrating this descent, this fucking chaos.
It's a force field.
It's a force. It's an energy. It's an energy that lives within this.
It's atmosphere, and that's why I was saying that 5G is a part of that. 5G is
It
a
has to be.
system
Mhm.
that is not only integrated into your mobile device or your mobile devices, it actually lives amongst us. Like
It's in
gotten
here.
to that point where artificial intelligence is one with us, and that's what 5G is. It's like helping integrate more, because now your thought process doesn't no longer have to go through Alexa. It just goes through what your thought process is.
We're there, because there's now more than ever, when I get on my computer and I start, when I'm thinking of something in particular, not anything common. It's not like a common search or a common theme. It'll usually be some crazy ass abstract shit. When I go into the search engine, that
It's
shit's
there.
already fucking there.
It's there. You know why?
Right there.
And you know
It's only
why?
been in here. It's never even come out. I've never vocalized it.
And this is
But it's
you never
there.
vocalize. You know why?
It's insane.
You know why you never vocalize it? Then you don't have to vocalize it.
I don't. They're in there
Because it's
already.
using the telepathic sound waves of your brain.
Oh yeah,
The
they've
brain
been
has
doing
sound
that.
waves and frequency. Just how the dolphins communicate. That's what they got that concept for. Well, you think for years the Germans did tests on dolphins, because dolphins could release mental images with just sound waves and frequencies without
Yeah.
talking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
When they go, that's just them talking shit.
Look
Has
at
nothing to do-
Hold on right now, man.
Like that's them just talking shit, trying to like throw off the IA system.
go ahead,
You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, when they're communicating, they communicate
yeah,
through
yo.
electromagnetic frequencies, and
Sure
that's
shit.
what they figured out. They figured this out. The
Long time
artificial
ago.
intelligence figured out that your frequency, your brain frequency, doesn't need to be spoken anymore.
That
It's just
sonar
like
is there.
boom, is out there, and it just grasps it. It just grabs
Yeah.
it, and makes his own shit out of it.
But
There's
that's just
videos
the
out there.
total power of the brain. I mean, how much do we
It is.
actually use from our brain
There you
power?
go, Chris
What,
Ryder. You
10%?
nailed it right there. Exactly.
You don't
It's
even we don't
metaphysics,
even full.
Yeah.
It's only 10%, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
So imagine you're not even tapping into 90%.
Right.
Imagine even half.
I think we
Yep.
had at one point we had
Very-
access to it. That's how we were able to build pyramids and shit like that.
That's what they're saying. A lot of
but
those,
we
a lot of
lost.
that information is lost.
Albert
Yeah,
Because
Einstein,
we forgot a lot of things over the way.
all those
Yeah.
all those inventors and all these people who people thought they were weird. How
Tesla.
funny is it? How funny is it an inventor or a smart guy gets more famous after he dies? It's because at the beginning people are like, oh my god, this guy is weird because he
Fucking
uses
crazy, man.
70% of his brain. No, nigga, you're fucking
Albert Einstein was crazy.
yeah, because he used 70% of his brain. And the reason why Hitler didn't take over is because he just exiled him. How he left him there, he would have took over the world. But the whole thing is, there's some people who use 70% of the brain. Albert Einstein was one of them. Tesla. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, there's some cats
Elon
out there.
Musk, like this guy just like he can make a flamethrower that should have sold like $1 billion for no reason.
I wanted one of those so fucking
Nobody
bad.
heard about that shit, that flamethrower?
That's just gonna come in handy like in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
In a few weeks when shit goes crazy and
What I'm
and the
saying
world
is
goes
like
nuts.
it's gotten to that point where and the guy who figured it out the first time, I'm gonna give him credit, is JC, Jesus Christ. Emmanuel,
JC.
whatever you want to call it. Why do you think that little piece of the Bible where he's 13 and he comes back when he's 33 is not there? It could have been taken out, right? But supposedly he was in Egypt learning like Masonic teachings of how to tap into those things, frequency levels.
Big Jesus.
And
Learning
as you
witchcraft.
say that though, how are you so easy to actually just blend in with those type of people? It just shows you then he was never white.
He wasn't white.
Because you know what I'm saying? Like how he was able to blend in with Egyptian.
There wasn't
Yeah.
even no white people
Those are
out
the
there.
things that you gotta think. Yeah, go ahead.
Except in Africa, people are dark skinned over there. Like really?
Right. So
He was a Hebrew.
that's why, man, it's a lot of things, man. There's a lot of questions you have
Lot
to
of
raise when
things,
it
man.
comes
His
to
hair was like wool.
yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
I
saying?
forgot that it's in Revelations. It's a verse in Revelations that describes Jesus.
Yeah.
But there's books you can read that say there's some books I have that say Jesus was a king and he died the traditional sacrificial king death, which is a rite of passage for kings, which is to be crucified, which had to do also with the inscription Inri on top of his thing. There's a lot of different that's more in line with probably Masonic teachings, like
Yeah.
and Mason.
Chris Ryder just left us. Oh my God.
Yeah, the Masonic teachings go more into even the life of him, like prior to, you know, his adolescence, his childhood.
You think Skynet took Christopher from us?
But
He literally left the meeting completely.
but
It got dark.
He probably he got dark, right?
He got real dark.
He did the Homer.
He did the Homer.
Oh shoot, you guys are too much.
I was like, I want to take the light and shine. Earlier, I was like, I want to shine a light. I was like,
Where are you? I can't see you.
Yeah, Morpheus, find them, please.
That's
Find
crazy.
them.
Morpheus.
It was Morpheus. Morpheus took him. You can't be in this podcast. They're talking about so much shit.
Yo, Morpheus. Joe, talk Elon Musk and all these cats. What about
Yeah, go ahead.
him and a few other cats talking about how this is probably all just a simulation? And you talk about ones and zeros.
Yo, this might not be the real Chris Ryder. It might be like
it
might be like the Matrix
Skynet
agents, the Matrix agents.
A deep fake.
A series of questions.
That's why he's in the dark. There's a deep fake.
Oh my God, he is! Look, he's the Matrix. Oh my
man.
goodness, Christ! Yo, Chris Ryder.
That was fast.
To ask you a series of questions because you disappeared, and we thought that maybe the Matrix agents grabbed you. So
I don't know. Somebody, my laptop, I got kicked out of my laptop. I don't know what happened.
So real quick, now that you came with that figure in the back, we want to make sure that you're the real Chris Ryder. What do you do for a living?
I cut up Nelson.
No, he's a Matrix agent. Sorry, buddy, we're gonna have to discontinue you. Wow, brother. No, seriously.
Oh man.
What's your last name?
I got kicked out of my laptop.
What's your real last name? What's your real last name?
It's official. It's official.
Huh?
He said, "What's his real last name?" He's old COVID.
Garcia.
He's the Matrix agent. Jets. They got him, Ariel.
They got him.
Oh man.
It's you know.
All right. So
yeah,
profits for profits. Let's get away from artificial intelligence, which is great because it ties into a lot of things. But I wanted to share something else for you guys. Now that we're going down the list of the profits, this profit is actually been taken for a lot of profits, moolah wise, right? Just like Jesus did. He actually parted the Red Sea. This guy right here. So
Big Moses.
Big Moses and how Moisés. So we got Moses, which we got Nostradamus, which is another big prophet.
Big Nas.
So we're gonna talk about Nostradamus because that shit bugs me out. How is it that his predictions all of a sudden happen after the shit happens? But anyway, let's go to Moses. Moses was a prophet according to the teachings of
The Hebrew Bible.
The Hebrew Bible. A legendary figure and a historic person, while retaining the possibilities that Moses like figure existed according to the Hebrew Bible. He was adopted by Egyptian princess, and later in life became the leader of the Israelites and the lawgiver, which we know the Jewish people are law people, right? To whom the Torah from heaven is attributed to, right? So let's talk about Moses. Moses was able to free the slaves in Egypt where were Jewish. They were the first slaves, which kind of like makes me think of how they created the slave trade. Maybe they learned the process and that's why they created it, because they were slaves themselves, right? And Moses, I don't know, man. Did he have the antidote as well? Was he like high on cannabis and he was able to part the Red Sea and shit? Like,
well, Moses parting the Red Sea is like, goddamn, that's an alchemical reference.
maybe there was a tsunami that happened and he just walked through it and shit. Like,
that's the parting of the Red Sea is a reference to something in alchemy when you're creating the great work. So it's a separation that happens, you know, between the green and the red. There are other references to this, like St. George slaying the dragon. You know, St. George it's the Regis, and the Regis is separate from the green dragon, which is the probably the reagent or the precipitate. This is in the process of making manna or ore, and that's also in the process of making the philosopher's stone.
Shit.
These are all alchemic. Yo, the history of alchemy is the history of the world.
It is.
Like, you can't talk about Jesus. You can't talk about Moses. You can't talk about any of that shit.
They knew about that.
Without getting deep into alchemy, because that was a lot of the history. A lot of the church hired alchemists to try to convert lead to gold because they wanted that shit. So the alchemists were even hired by church. Sir Francis Bacon was an alchemist. Isaac Newton was an alchemist. Chemistry.
Nostradamus was an alchemist.
Nostradamus. The discipline of chemistry, which led to organic chemistry and all the cracking of life, was derived from alchemy. You know, people trying to, fucking.
The cologne we wearing now came out of that too.
So I mean, Moses, if you go strictly by the biblical scripture, I mean, it's physically impossible to part the Red Sea with a staff. You know, it's not possible to do that. It goes against physics. However, motherfuckers used to live to like 300-400 years old back then. So
let's say he had an outside influence. There was a part in the desert where people were dying of hunger, and this fucking thing gave out popcorn to everybody, and they fucking survived.
Anything is possible, man. Look, anything.
Imagine an alien spaceship just throwing out popcorn with butter on it and shit. They'd be like, oh yeah, you get that shit. I love it.
You're right after picking it up, like, oh shit.
Oh, what is this? It's called popcorn. It pops with corn.
I love it. I fucking love it. Let my people go. Come back and make more popcorn.
You put a heat on corn and that shit pops. Like, the fuck?
The fucking.
I think we had some of Jesus' antidote tonight.
Oh my God, man.
What a wacky backy.
Jesus has hit us with the little cannabis CBD joint.
Oh man.
It's a thing. It's a thing. So he was a prophet, in a sense that, he spoke to God, He went up the Mount, was it Sinai? Was it Mount Sinai? And the burning bush. Came down a
little bit real quick. It just
came down with the burning, came down stone.
If you reach a certain altitude, right? Like the air is different up there.
Yeah.
That air makes you think different. That air makes you think different.
Come on.
So even if he wasn't smoking trees or weed or whatever the Hebrew name for this shit was.
Cannibalism.
What is it?
Cannibalism.
Let's say he wasn't smoking cannibalism.
Yeah, man.
Just the air up there could have made him think different, that he was talking to like some dude, like he was talking to Zordon and shit from the Power Rangers.
Yo, Zordon,
fucking bring these tablets downstairs and fucking tell these motherfuckers this shit not to worship goats and shit.
Niggas worshiping goats and calves and shit. All right, yo, fuck this. I'm out.
Oh man,
I'm out. So
like Moses came downstairs with a fucking tablets and like encrypted and shit, like with like mass shit, and like he fucking slapped the shit out of people with that shit and
supposedly that's what's inside the Ark of the Covenant, right?
Yes.
And that's you can't get near it because that shit's a superconductor. You can't get near the Ark of the Covenant because it'll kill you because it's a superconductor.
That's radiation.
That's why you need to be. That's why alchemy is important, because if you approach that Ark of the Covenant and your frequency and your vibrationally on the level, you cannot perish. You can handle it. You can go near it. It's a superconductor. But if you ain't right within, how you gonna win? How you gonna win when you ain't right within? Right. So they keep that shit sealed. You know what I'm saying? They keep it sealed. It's far.
Yeah.
It may exist, may not. But yo.
But talking about frequencies like that. They've said that
Moses.
Let's say like this is gonna mind fuck you guys right now real hard. Like, I'm sorry, like I don't use Magnum.
Chris Ryder just laid back or just wait.
I don't use Magnum. Put it in. But they say that we live in multi universes, like within one reality, right? Like
multiverses,
right? Multiverses. So and the only reality that uses time is the current one that we live in right now. Like we use time. Like other realities don't use time. they all use like you know the consciousness as a way to travel or whatever.
I agree.
And there's portals in certain places where you can
yeah,
actually enter, but not all humans can enter because they have to know how to adjust their frequency in order to travel back in time, right? So if you think about it, like Picasso and all these like big fucking artists that used to draw like UFOs or like crafts in their fucking paintings, you think those are multiverses like crossing paths, and maybe Moses, when he went up there to Mount Sinai, the fucking air fucked him up and he was smoking some shit and he's like, oh shit, fucking God told me to bring these tablets down, and he fucking thought he part of the Red Sea, and then he actually drowned a couple of them, and then a few survived, and then he popped some corn and they fucking survived, and like I don't know.
What the fuck?
In the desert. They pop corn in the desert, and that's how
What
they made
the
it.
hell, Nelson?
Like, nigga,
What the hell?
Oh man,
It's just like weird, like it's so much shit. Like you think about it, like the Bible, like it's the first book. Well, not the first book, but the first book known to modern man of what life was about. And if you look at it, that shit is a folktale, bro. It's like a cartoon series.
Well, look,
it's all like who lives
100%.
who lives to be 300 years, 400 years. The niggas had no concept of time. Like a year with a day. You know what I'm saying? Like this nigga lived 300 days. He was like 300 years old. Really?
So the oldest religion is Vedantism. That shit is over 6,500 years old, from India. You know, the Vedas, the Brahmas and the Brahmins and all these other motherfuckers, right? And then you have like Babylonian, you have, you know, Sumerian texts, and you know, Sumer is credited with, you know, being the first civilization, right? So you have stories from Sumerian text and manuscripts of Gilgamesh.
They were enslaved by the Anunnakis.
Yeah, you have the Epic of Gilgamesh is my dude putting, you know, before Great Flood, building an ark and putting in two of each animal. You know, the Great Flood epic of Noah's Ark. That same exact story was written 3,000 years prior. Was there another Great Flood? Maybe.
It's the same story. History repeats itself, just like Johnson Rush.
It's these creationists that, again.
But I mean, they say they found evidence of that being true, though.
They say a lot of shit.
I
but
think
again,
the timeline is fucked
was
up.
it Gilgamesh's ark, or was it Noah's Ark? You know, was it something that predated?
Maybe Gilgamesh's or Gargamel. What's his name? We said Gargamel.
Gilgamesh.
Gargamel.
Gargamel.
It's probably looking at Gargamel right now.
Buju Banton and shit. Gargamel. Now you have that. And that's where those Anunnaki tales came from, you know, from Sumer. So you had, you know, in Babylon, you had the Babylonian king, what was his name? Hammurabi, you know, and he had a stele of laws and a code of ethics and shit like that. So you have, and this is just a few thousand years old. Shit goes back further. So this emanates from way further. Like, especially in that region, it was particularly, you know, we could have had several floods, because look at the Sphinx, for example. The head is not the original head. The Sphinx is like 14,000 years old. The body or the head, one of those two components, it's not the original, right? But you can see the erosion of water. So at one point, water was above the head, and it fucking you can see the erosion marks in places where there hasn't been water in a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, have there been, I think that, you know, there's probably been various great floods, and we're probably going to get another, you know what I'm saying, like soon, because magnetic poles are shifting.
Yeah,
you
man.
have
that's why I say that all that global warming shit, that's just the environment, bro, just acting normal. That's just a scam.
I mean, we contribute to it, but
yeah,
when the poles shift, It's like you can't prepare for that. There's nothing you can do for that.
You see it right now, like it's just crazy.
Yeah. They took a sample from the South Pole not too long ago. They went down like 30 meters or some shit, or some crazy length. And what they pulled out, they found it was flash frozen. It was like a tropic environment. They have all the saturated carbon from the air. It was a tropical environment in like fucking the South Pole.
Wait, so do you think is that part of the Hollow Earth?
I don't know. I think I think that the Earth is not particularly hollow in certain places. I think that there may be some areas that are cavernous and hollow, but I think as a whole, they just discovered a vast ocean beneath ours. Like there's like a huge ocean that may carry life that we've never even known about. So we have this this magnetic core that's molten, that's always doing its thing, and it's very peculiar. We have this magnetic fucking core that keeps everything on it. You know what I'm saying? We gotta escape to get off this.
I just love the way that me and John Tavar were like mind blown right now with everything you're saying.
You can't. You can't get off this bitch, right? You can't, as much as we try, we can't really get off it. And if we do, where the fuck are we going? There's nothing around for, conceivable.
No, I mean.
But then you talk about portals, and then you do something like go to NASA's website right now and start looking up portals, and you can look into what they have to say and how they track them, and how there's portals that are opening up at all times of day and night above our atmosphere and Earth. They track them. There's portals that are opening and closing all the fucking time. And they're tracked. You know what I'm saying? There's no information if everything comes in or out, blah, 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 blah. But they know that they're open and they shut. And it's public information. Anybody can go on there and get it.
That's why I wish sometimes, man, damn, man, this is so hard, man. Like, life is fucking crazy. Like, if we could have people like Albert Einstein live like 1,000 years, bro, like, he would have figured that shit out, bro, because he was real close to that shit.
He was, him and Tesla, they figured it out in the sense of vibrational frequency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything at the end of the day comes down to resonance and whether shit resonates and the vibrational frequencies of things. We all share similar vibration, mass and matter. We all share that. But outside of that, we have, our own energies and frequencies within. So if you vibrate with somebody, you have similar frequencies, you know what I mean?
It's similar to like if you meet a chick at a bar and you're like, oh fuck, she's hot, and then you guys just vibrate.
And then you have vibration, then you have physical chemical reaction that adds to that shit. You know what I mean? So you have a lot of different components that'll fucking contribute. But it's at the end of the day, the realest shit I ever read. It was a quote that said, it was very simple. It said, at the end of the day, a person studying atoms and like shit like that, molecules, is basically a collection of atoms attempting to understand itself, right? So we're just condensed. Everything around you is condensed frequencies and some forms into matter. Part of that is Earth magnetic core, magnetism. So we have the power of attraction. We can attract things, we can repel things. With our conductor here, we think about shit, we can manifest things. So on top of that, creation is important because we're able to take these waves, these frequencies, organize them, and literally make every fucking thing around you, including the computer you're on, the technology, the camera, the building, the structure behind you, this chair you're sitting on, originated as a frequency in someone's fucking head, which is ultimately a collection of condensed frequencies,
right?
Matter and mass. So we're all, and where does it all come from, though? Where does it all emanate from? So, you know what I'm saying? That's God.
Just saying it that if someone's frequency is strong enough, they can make other people tune into their frequency.
100%.
Like Mark Zuckerberg, like those type of people like that. Like
those people have to manipulate. That's why it's so ill-gotten. It has to be manipulated. Anything that has to be manipulated, it's not of that essence. It's not of the essence.
Yeah, but they learn the laws of it, and then they know
and
how
they
to
use it. Yeah, they learn the
like
laws
Hitler,
and
like
manipulate. Yeah,
Hitler and these big people who would like influence billions of people. They've learned how to manipulate the frequency, because how is it if somebody who comes from like the dirt
you tap
but
into
learns how to manipulate the frequency can influence billions of people?
You tap into their frequency. That's all he did.
So you tap into a frequency, you use your frequency to let them tap into yours, and then it becomes an organic frequency because all of them are tapping into yours.
Yeah, you're not only a frequency generator, you're also a receiver.
A receiver.
You know what I mean? So you're a receiver like an antenna. You can give out and push out, information.
What if you become the main receiver and the main receiver and the main outlet to generate frequencies out? You can make people come to you.
Then you're a prophet.
But that's the law of attraction. That's the law of attraction, though.
There you go. You're a prophet.
The closer you are to divinity, the closer you are to the source, and that comes out, it'll resonate with frequencies. But you have to understand that on any spectrum, in the natural world, you can't just have one frequency. You have an entire spectrum.
Right.
So you have good positive
on a radio station. You gotta go to 97.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have different vibrational frequencies. So for in order to maintain a balance, you have to have the counterpart to everything: matter, antimatter. You know what I mean? Positive, negative. So
good and evil.
Good and evil, and that's a matter of perspective, right? Because in traditional theology, you have good, Jesus, evil, Lucifer, or God good, Lucifer bad, right? Yeah. Lucifer was what? Lucifer was an angel that wanted to know as much as God. He wanted to know. So you want to know? Boom, there you go.
He's bad. No. Wanted to know. How about a serial killer? A serial killer in his head, what he's doing good.
Everything.
What he's doing is good, but for the rest of the world is bad.
Back to your zero, your frame of reference, your starting point. If your frame of reference, if Hitler, for example, was a person that was always beat up by Jews, this and that, blah blah blah, while other people have perfect experiences, it's the opposite. That's his zero. That's his starting point. His entire fucking existence and reality has been this. Even though it's not the same for everybody else, it's been this. So that's his starting point. That's his frame of reference. That's his zero.
Fuck this shit.
And for him, he was doing the ultimate good, right? He was ridding the world of this fucking problem. He wasn't the only one. Look at Henry Ford.
And it's funny you say that. Before you continue, he said that one of the reasons why he did what he did was because he was tired of the fakeness in like the elites were Jewish people. Because
so that vibration.
He said, yo, why are they the chosen people when they created slavery? He said that. He said that. He said that they created slavery.
Exactly. And you know what? Here's the thing about Hitler. He's emanating frequencies. He was in a bar one night, right? And he's talking all this shit, and people are like, yeah.
That was the Kristallnacht did was it the night that he tried to take over, he got locked up, or
I'm not sure, but I do know one thing, that from the point that he started to the point where they were invading countries took a long fucking time. We're talking about over 12 years. Yeah. So, and throughout this whole time, Nuremberg, you had so many things going on, but it was other like-minded people with the same frequency, the same vibration, thinking, yo,
Napoleon,
let's do this,
Mussolini,
lawyers, judge, all these people. Vibrations, and they're part of.
Do you think that's the reason why he got so close to Mussolini? Because they were at the same frequency level at one point.
Always, most people like that. Look at Trump.
You know what happened with Hitler? That when he was in the total frequency. He tried to take over. He got locked up, and that's why he created the Mein Kampf and all this shit.
Mein Kampf, okay.
When he finally came out, he was at the frequency that he needed to be, and then he used Mussolini and all these dudes to like fall into flow with his frequency, and then he rose above their frequency and fucked them over. That's
Look
how
at your boy
Germany got
DT.
all this shit back.
Look at your boy DT. Look at Trump. Trump is an anomaly. He wasn't supposed to win the election, and he's doing all this other shit that's going contrary to a particular thing. The people were able to get a lot of shit through him still, but they weren't. He's not playing ball the way that it was supposed to be.
Right,
but
right.
Look at who he aspires to be like. His frequencies are attracted to water seeks its level, right? So like frequencies attract. Look at the people he admires most and whom he visits with the most. I don't believe for 1 second that he's doing the 4th of July fucking celebration on the 3rd in front of Mount Rushmore by mistake. You know what I'm saying? This is not America we live in right now.
Hey, John Tavar, John
You know
Tavar, my co-host and my lovely cousin, which I love to death. I haven't told you that. I'm telling you the podcast now. Yo, this guy, man, he always says that. Yo, John Tavar always says it. I kid you not. Everything that Donald Trump does is strategically planned, bro.
100%, 100%. When he talks about being a stable genius, he's a fucking stable genius, and he comes from a family of stable geniuses that have somehow perfected time travel, right? Right? Because his uncle John was the guy who cleared out Tesla's apartment when he died. He cleared his personal effects. Yeah. And the theme for Back to the Future 2 is this what we're living in.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead are his fucking kids. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Like that was the but everything, the Ingersoll, that book, that Ingrid, whatever, that The Last President, the other one, Barron Trump's Great Adventure, some shit. This is not a coincidence. It's not, you cannot have your uncle, a professor at MIT, be the fucking guy that clears out Tesla's fucking apartment.
That's fucking insane.
Wow, yeah.
And then The Simpsons, and then all the correlations
there's
the escalator.
There's like
very planned.
There's a formula.
Episode, yeah.
There's a formula that's been created for that particular reason.
Yeah.
That's why whenever John Tavar and Chris Ryder talk about how Donald Trump this is not a coincidence, bro. Like this is like it's a formula that's been built for him to be where he's at.
John Tavar knows what the fuck he's talking about, right, John? John says Trump knows what the fuck he's doing because Trump knows what the fuck he's doing.
People think that he's an idiot, and it's not. He's not at all.
No. He uses that. That's what he uses to get.
Because he knows the mentality of the American people.
There's an algorithm.
It's very limited.
Dude, I love my boy Rob. My boy Rob, his dad was the first black American, the first black in the world.
Rob, the one that we know?
Nah, his name is Rob Robert Ross. Okay, Ross, Centerville, Mercedes. I'm gonna do a free promo in Ohio, Centerville, Ohio. His dad in that Centerville Mercedes was the first African black person to own a Mercedes dealership in the world, right?
Oh, okay.
As a result, my friend Rob, his son, grew up very rich and very privileged, right? Rob is like the same character as Trump. They're like the same.
Oh, okay. Like personality wise, it's like, okay, yeah.
Don't give a fuck, money. Yo, just blah, blah, blah. No off switch. Yeah. No off. It's just.
Got you.
But it's where they come from is the same. It's that privileged, rich lifestyle. There's no accountability. Don't give a fuck about nothing to no one but. And it's not because they're bad people. That's just the world that they were raised in. That's their in and out. That's their
right. The upbringing, as far as I would have been exposed to. I mean, again, though, we all like basically a living organism that basically are brought up in a certain way that, you know what I'm saying, we have no control as far as like our decisions because it's based on the way you were brought up. You're right about that.
Right. So there comes a point where you can take personal responsibility, but that's usually after like a life-changing event, like a death, an accident,
right.
Some like major, some shattering shit that bursts your bubble. You're like, oh shit, what? Rearrange life. But when it comes to this guy, he's a very calculating motherfucker. I used to tell a cat we know all the time before he started, and this is a plug for the shit I'm about to say. I'm like, yo, Trump, what you're going to see he's going to do is very methodical and systemic. One by one, he's gonna eliminate everybody around him until he's the only motherfucker standing. And then by default, he's like a de facto dictator because there's nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, I'm a registered dictator. .co. You know, .com was taken many years ago, but dictator.co. And it's a little graphic of, you know, like a dick-shaped potato with Donald Trump's face. So
Get out of here.
Yeah, I got that shit. I'm gonna start selling mad shirts and all that shit.
Crazy,
Yeah. Because it's easy to see, you know, it's very easy to see what he admires, what he values, and that's why all this shit is very symbolic.
Yeah.
He's very careful not to say, yo, I want you know, I want all the states closed down. He was like, I'm gonna leave. He's like, I want all the states closed down, but I'm not gonna make that decision. I'm gonna leave that to the governors of the state individually, because he knows what they're gonna do. He's very calculating. He's very methodical. He gives people enough rope to hang themselves with. Look at Fauci. Look at fucking Anthony Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Doctor,
my God, what the fuck? This guy, he was like, yo,
that's
he took him out. He took him out the shit because he was pushing an agenda that was not in line with his.
Right.
Trump literally got caught up in the worst possible fucking time into a presidency.
Yeah,
when they were unfolding the last parts of the New World Order, because now they got the technology everywhere. They got everything. They got this. They got delivery systems that are like, they got the mosquito delivery systems popping right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got the shit where they want it. You know what I'm saying? And you got your mad scientist, Bill Gates, you know, out here doing wild shit. Like, this nigga's a classic fucking textbook criminal, like, villain from the comic books.
I got so many things to say about Bill Gates though, but that'll be a different conversation.
For sure. But you know, so you already know where he's from. You know where he comes from. His grandparents, his parents, the role they had, and his role in this whole piece. And Trump was like, nah, fuck that. And he has a lot of involvement with. Fauci works directly with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He's like member of the. He's like right hand man.
I mean, yeah, I already knew that. I mean,
dude, when I was studying for medicine, you know, when I was in University of Central Florida, I had a teacher that, you know, she was like different. Like, she was like, her name was Dr. Morgan. She was all about like real shit. And I had her for a physiology class, and we saw this movie about AIDS and shit, right? Like, it's called And the Band Played On. You can find it now. They probably have it like for free wherever, but you should see it because it's a lot about what's happening now. You know, it was about a pandemic that nobody knew about in the 80s that was designed to affect a certain segment of population, the homosexual population, right? So this coronavirus was invented, okay, because HIV/AIDS it's a coronavirus as well that was invented. It was engineered. It's an engineered tool.
HIV for sure. That's one thing I'm certain.
HIV is it's again, when you look at, you know, study virus and virology, you see the structure of virus, and then you see AIDS, HIV, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, it doesn't look like nothing. It doesn't look like none of this other shit, right?
Right.
So it's like most of these other coronaviruses. But when you look at HIV and what's happening,
guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the United States president, Agent Orange, is in the building. Agent Orange.
Hold on, I'm gonna get the building.
He needs to speak his part.
I'm gonna get that thing.
He needs to say his part. Can I continue to talk about it without him having a voice? As to what the real deal is. Agent Orange, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, man.
Agent Orange.
Chris Snyder looking at you. What the hell?
Agent Orange out here.
Yo, what the hell?
So,
Agent Orange, how are you, buddy?
Real quick, this HIV when that shit came out was the same shit. And who had just started when HIV first came out? I didn't realize this. I didn't know this until now, this year.
Ariel Polanco, interrupted, but Agent Orange is being escorted out of Air Force 5. He's about to chime in the chat right now. in the actual podcast.
We'll bring him on.
Let's bring him on, man. Agent Orange, how are you, buddy? How's it going? Welcome back to the podcast. Been a long time.
He's coming.
Oh man.
He's
All
coming.
things
Agent Orange, are you there?
You got too many things going on right now, man. You got too many things going on. We just talked about
We just talking about him, man. Hello?
I know, but like it was not prepared. You didn't even let
Is he
me
there?
like. You didn't even. You just like came out mad random, bro.
Oh man.
He's not ready yet.
I like that right there. Yo, that's crazy.
That's
Okay.
We're gonna bring him back. But
Oh,
Agent Orange,
man. How long ago was that, by the way?
Agent
that
Orange,
dictator.
Agent Orange, just in case you're listening, we were talking about how you're very strategic when you do your things, and I just didn't want to go on the podcast blabbering about you, but I be having to say. So, can we hear a little bit about what Agent Orange thinks about these thoughts that we had today?
I don't really care. I'm in my Mar-a-Lago resort. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm kind of high and drunk right now.
President Trump.
So there you go. Agent Orange has defeated himself today. And everything we said about you just went down the drain because you couldn't.
It was a lie. You the best. You number one. You number zero, Trump. Trump the number zero.
You just had some Himalayan cocaine. It just fell off.
Man.
That's what he does the best.
Oh man. But
yeah, man, real quick, just to tap that guy, Fauci.
Yeah, go ahead.
Trump, that's why Trump, like fuck this guy, because this fucking guy, he did the same shit with AIDS, bro. When this fucking guy Fauci, I was on my IG live, not live, but those stories or whatever, with masks on back in January, February, okay.
What's everybody? March, was it like March or?
And even towards the end of in March, they were like, don't. This guy out of his mouth was like, don't use masks. And then when they asked him recently, why you say that? He was like, oh, because I didn't want the healthcare professionals to not have any. Bitch, what about a homemade mask or a rag or some other shit?
Yeah.
He did the same shit with AIDS, bro. He knew that he knew exactly what the fuck it was, how it was. And you know what this motherfucker did? When all these doctors were like, yo, we don't know what the fuck this is, but blah, 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 this and that. And they were in the CDC fucking having panels and this shit. They knew it could be transfused. They knew this and that. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when when the public found out that it more about it and it was identified and it was a race with France and these doctors were like cutthroat, they were like, we don't give a fuck if motherfuckers are dying. I'm not gonna publish shit because I want to be the first motherfucker to discuss. In science, that's the reason why I kind of was turned off from medicine. Most of my peers were interested in being published. Fame. It's just fame and money.
Okay.
It's not helping people. It's being published. I discovered some shit, or I did this, or this is my thing.
Okay, I got you.
That's all they give a fuck about, and getting that bread. So when that shit happened, they outlawed the sale of plasma and blood products that were tainted with HIV, because if you get it, you'll get it, right? So what the fuck did they allow? He allowed Bayer company to sell Factor 8, which is a product they made from blood plasma that they couldn't sell here anymore, distribute it around the world, sell it overseas, contaminating other people abroad. It's all part of the eugenics movements that's been going on for a long time that diminish the population, and he's in there deep with them. So when you look at COVID, it's similar and in the effect that it's morphologically similar, and the plan for the outcome is similar, but this is a much more deadlier bug, and they're already hinting at worse shit coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So you look at that. You look at the police being defunded, going on strike, leaving, him doing shit on the 3rd instead of the 4th. It's almost like the perfect setup for, well, there's no police. Who's going to keep law and order? Well, the National Guard's already in place because they were mobilized for Corona. Due to some shit that Bush signed, Trump can take control over all 50 states as National Guard. He can assume control over them and he can supersede the actual governor's power over the National Guard. So he can effectively take control of the entire National Guard, deploy the army or whoever the fuck he wants to quote unquote maintain order. Okay, you can't say if you deface a national monument, I'm gonna give you 10 years. But if you kill a black person, nothing happens. There's no consequence. So if you have that power and you make it that obvious that, yo, I don't give a fuck, and this is what it's going to be, then you're kind of stirring up the pot and creating the perfect circumstances for, you know, a military occupation of by the and they're soldiers. They're not going to be having a crisis of conscience like, oh, this isn't right.
Yeah. No.
Some retired generals might be talking that shit. This isn't right, and I am against
right. Yeah,
but motherfucker, you know
that
damn right
happens too. Yeah,
they know that if they was serving, they'd have to shut the fuck up and do what the fuck they told. And if that means occupying American cities, opening fire on American civilians, they've already been training for this shit since.
There you go.
13,
they are
14.
They already trained for that already.
They had those zombie trainings that they would do off the coast of Cali and all these other shit. That's what this shit was for. It was for what's about to come. Because we're not trading with China the way shit's been for the past few years. So for many months, we haven't been really receiving shit. So we're living off of what the fuck we have.
And as you say that though, honestly, we have the largest military in the world. So just imagine if the military takes over. You know what I'm saying?
They just revamped. They got overhauled with this guy. And
absolutely. And it's crazy because again, though, like honestly, we have to really stop and really think. I mean, 2020 honestly should be an awakening year.
100%.
Where if you don't really think about what the hell's going on, if you have not taken that opportunity, then you got to do it right now because there's so many things been going on in such a short period because we're going to turn into July and Wednesday, right?
That's crazy.
So like we only half the year. You know what I'm saying? Like just barely just got over half the year. And like we don't know what's coming up next. So I mean you're totally right about that. It is crazy. 2020 is definitely going down in the history books for sure.
Every time you think it's about to calm down, every time you think that the office is about to let the knee off your neck and shit. More for us and shit.
Wow. Oh, hold on. What's going on right now? We interrupting right now. We got
CT. Oh shit.
What the hell is going on, man? I got a special guest right now.
Yeah, he's here. He made it. Thanks for joining us, man. I can't believe it. To whom do we owe this honor to? Mr. President. How'd you even get this info? Damn, you good. He's good.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. I mean, listen, he's the Donald. You know what I mean? It's,
Oh shit, your face is falling off, Donald. Your face.
Oh man. You're not gonna talk now, like you're not gonna say anything. You're just gonna
creepy style. You just coming in here creeping out. You just spying on everybody. We talking about how you're gonna be declaring war on America on the 3rd. You got anything to say about that, you mother? So yeah,
he has no comment right now,
man. There's
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange was like, nah, I don't know nothing about that.
Yo, he's creepy, man.
I believe it, right? I want to stick to my constitutional rights.
Yo, that's crazy.
What the fuck was that? That was scary.
That
was scary.
Yo, Chris Ryder, your face is so epic, bro.
No,
that was
actually
weird.
Was that you?
Scary, bro.
Who did that? Which one of you guys did that shit? Nelson.
you wanna
Donald J. Trump chiming in.
Son of a gun.
Oh man, but listen, man, let's.
He's an alien. He's not even.
Oh wait, he's coming back on right now.
Let's get back to it, though.
There you go.
Yo, Donald Trump, you want to buy a T-shirt?
Hold up, Mr. President. Let's wait until he connects. He just came out of Air Force 5. He's trying to connect. Mr. President, how are you? Welcome to Dinner at the Round Table podcast.
Your chin's a little loose, Mr. President.
What the fuck is going on, my guys?
Oh,
how's it going there?
Everything is great.
We've been here talking shit about you, and I didn't want you not to be on the show.
Well, guess what?
Let's reintroduce you.
Show me your taxes, nigga.
You know what?
Some great music first. Before you
know what? I'm not signing that second fucking stimulus check. Fucking Don Tabar can suck a big cock.
Oh. Oh my God, Donald Trump knows your name.
I feel special.
You gets nothing. Nothing.
Mr. Trump, how are you today? How you feeling today, brother?
Feeling great.
So
Kinda
we
pissed
see
off.
that you're I know how you're anti-gay and you're in the gayest city in the world, San Francisco, by the Golden Gate Bridge.
Damn.
What's going on over there?
Hey, gays need love too, man.
Are you
Gays
trying to
need
make
love. They need love.
are you trying to make my America great by accepting the gays in the Golden Gate Bridge?
Well, America will never be great with gays. Never.
Oh my God, Donald Trump. You're
Yeah.
such a fucking hater.
We just need to hang all these fucking queers.
Oh shit.
All these queers. We need to hang them.
Is that what will make America great again?
That would fucking definitely make a fucking America great.
You heard it from the mouth of Donald Trump, goddammit. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, live and direct.
Listen, Donald Trump, we know that you are a billionaire, so we can't deny the fact that you've had a lot of plastic surgery. That's why your skin is hanging from your neck right now. Have you had a recent plastic surgery recently?
Listen, man, forget about this fucking plastic surgery. Let's talk about all these fucking queers and all these goddamn niggers protesting.
Oh, man.
But what about the Mexican immigrants at the border?
Fuck those Mexicans. Fuck them.
Oh, what?
Fuck them all.
Who's gonna work at your resorts?
Well,
Who's gonna build your wall?
Listen, Mr. Donald J. Trump, we've had you on the show before. We had you on the show before. We've had you on the show before, and you know, we're very on the side of revolutionary things. And you saying those words, we will not allow you to say those things on the show anymore. So if you have to be a little bit more cordial if you're going to be on the show, okay, sir?
Well, you can suck a dick.
Oh, Donald Trump. He's
Donald
a
J.
bad
Trump.
man. Donald
That's
Trump's
right
a
there,
bad
Fred.
man.
We will
He's in
build
our-
the wall. Next wall will be going up. Dominican Republic. We don't want you fucking spakes here either.
Oh no,
Oh, man,
not the
Jesus.
DR.
I know you own a big part of Punta Cana over there.
Fuck
yeah?
Punta Cana. Fuck them. Fuck everybody.
Goddamn, Donald Trump.
Good night.
So you
Good
have-
night, guys. Good night, guys.
Brush
You
your
guys-
teeth.
good
All
night.
right, guys. Listen, man, you're being very like he was very rude and then just like Donald Trump is, and he said a couple of words there that are not about Dinner at the Round Table podcast, and we apologize to our listeners. By the end of the day, we are the source of knowledge, and we have to spread the awareness that Donald J. Trump, regardless of him being a genius, he's a fucking asshole and he's an idiot. And what he did there has nothing to do with us. It's all about him. So
He's a bigot. Yo, he's no good. He's no fucking good, bro. Yo, this guy, he's no good. He's
I mean,
no
we
good.
can go on and
But
on.
you've
with
seen it
that.
for yourself right now. He was a no good. You guys were all like surprised.
He's good for one person, and him. That's himself. You know what I'm saying? To an extent. But when you look at, was it Iran today? Was like, we got a warrant out for this guy's arrest. They put out a warrant for Trump
In Iran.
for killing that one general. You can't just go around killing motherfuckers, I guess.
Shit.
So if you step out of this
And now that
power,
let's get back to our zone because everybody's a little bit uncomfortable right now.
we
I see
can't.
my co-hosts are a little bit uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
Dude,
I know this is
dude.
Chris face like that, like yo, Chris is
I
like,
guess.
Oh,
yeah, but listen, we're kind of going a little bit long right now. You know what I'm saying? Let's just
that's what I'm saying. Like, let's
cut tone
Like,
it down.
let's go back to Profit for Profits and let's apologize for not apologize for Donald J. Trump because he's an asshole, but let's apologize for his words because we're not about that on the show. But we have to spread knowledge, and that's what we do here. And we spread the knowledge. He's a fucking racist bigot, whatever. And you know he has his ways of doing things. But anyway, back to Profit for Profits. We have extended our show a little bit longer than we should. But before we end this, I want to just share something with you guys with one more profit, which is very known to us. That this is we could do like another 20 minutes of this, and then call it a wrap and do our final thoughts. But you guys are gonna know about him big time because he's one of our most known prophets of the world. I have something to say about him, but I'll let you guys chime in first. Let's see here. We got Mr. Nostradamus, all right, which is our next prophet for profits. A lot of people have made a lot of money off of his teachings.
Nasty nods to Escobar. Now he's Nostradamus.
Well, he's a
I know.
Sagittarius.
I my bell too though when I heard the name Nostradamus, the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sagittarius, like me and my fellow co-host, Chris Ryder, and he's best known for like predicting future events.
Mhm.
I have a he
I
was
thought it was The Simpsons.
Yeah, the Simpsons are real good too.
They'd be copying from.
But he's Jewish, Jewish descent.
I didn't know that.
Which converted to Catholicism later on when he was born. So his family was Jewish, but they converted, and basically they were forced to leave their country where they was from because of a plague, and then they grew up. They made him grow up like in a very like prominent society where he was able to study and learn a lot of alchemy and all this stuff. So a lot of his teachings come from alchemy. So we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And basically, Nostradamus is like the predictor of future events. But I have something to say about that. I'm not gonna knock his prophecies because I do think that he's a genius, one of our geniuses that existed in the world.
Mhm.
But it baffles me that Nostradamus comes into play after some shit happens. Like nobody talks about it before it happens. It's like, oh, something happened today, and yes, and tomorrow, oh, but Nostradamus predicted that. So has he been a product of a prophet for profits? Because people don't talk about him until after the shit happens to make money off of him?
I would say yeah, man. And now I'm curious because I'm thinking, where can I find his books? Can I go to Barnes and Nobles and find Nostradamus' predictions and shit? Because
you can find.
I would like to know what's happening tomorrow.
Barnes and Nobles, they have it.
I forgot all about that guy, to be honest with you. And now that you really sparked my interest. Like tonight after this shit, I'm gonna just
go Google them and just learn more.
On him.
I'm gonna I want to know everything about Nostradamus and his predictions tonight.
He's actually been close in a lot of things, though. Yeah,
that's why. That's because everybody's like, "Yo, just like he predicted," and I'm like,
"Yeah, that's what I'm saying." Like most of his people admire him like mostly for things that happen after they happen.
Right, because he predicted it and it came true.
So Chris Ryder cut 1,000 fucking pounds of goat today. Nostradamus said that yesterday.
Self-fulfilling. I mean, that could be that could be that. You have to admit that into the possibility realm. And he, if he's just throwing darts in the dark, he's gonna hit the target every now and then. But if he's pretty accurate, like if a lot of the shit he said has actually happened, be it a day after or not.
I've read Nostradamus scriptures before, and most of them are like old English, where things are like real general.
Yeah,
and
so
they can tie into any time in history. That's what I've gotten from my personal opinion.
So what I'm gonna do, for me personally, what I'm gonna do tonight is I'm gonna see what the fuck he's been saying and what hasn't happened yet. And based around that, like if he's like, yo, there's gonna be a big flood tomorrow, or no, next week, because tomorrow's your fuck. But next week, you can say, yo, I'm gonna go stock up on I'm gonna buy boats, I'm gonna buy life jackets and shit, because I'm gonna make some profits off of that prophecy. You know what I'm saying? I'm also gonna save some lives. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be.
For instance, like when the whole 9/11 thing happened, I was real big on reading his shit, and I was going through like a difficult time in my life. A few people know whatever, but I was in band camp at that time, which I'm not gonna get into that. But when you're in a place where you have no time or like you have time but you're not like focused on time, it's like you're gonna like do the best to like study shit, whatever. And I was studying shit, and a lot of the stuff was like like it was like general statements that could either be interpreted, like it could be the interpretation of it could be like, okay, it makes sense to what's going on now, and it can make sense what was going on in the mid 50s. Like there's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that it's too general to be like, oh shit, like it's so pinpoint. Particularly with the 9/11 thing, it says that supposedly he said that the towers of the north in the new Babylon city were burned, and that would be the revolution of the new Persian Empire, because Muslims, the Muslim Islam is a derivative of the Persian Empire. If we think about it,
and the Moors and shit like that.
Yeah,
the Moors definitely are goes unnoticed in history books. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like those things like that bother me. I'm like, yo, like just like the Bible, like you can read it and it can make sense to something that's going on now. Same thing that Nostradamus teachings do the same thing. It's too broad and general.
Yeah, it's too vague, yo. There's no way you can pinpoint it on shit. Like,
and even if you try to dissect it, it just doesn't. It can make sense to you at the current time, and it can make sense to somebody else 10 years later. That's what I got off of it.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure out what he wrote tonight, and I'm just gonna sell products around it.
You want to hear something else about Nostradamus? They were saying that he actually predicted the coronavirus.
Get the fuck out of here! Really?
I bet you they said that after the coronavirus.
But look what it says. It says
Chris
there will be a twin year from which will
pull it up.
Oh my god!
I can't pull it up. I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Shit like that. Okay.
Look.
Okay.
That Chris Ryder's Chris.
Oh, no, we can't
read it though.
Speak on it.
Yeah, I know. But it says, from which will rise a queen, Corona, who will come from the east, China, and who will spread a plague virus in the darkest of night on a country with 7 hills, Italy, and will transform the twilight of men into dust. Death.
Yeah, gotta get this.
To destroy and ruin the world. It will be the end of the world economy as you know it.
All right. What website is that so we can pull it up? Send me a text.
I just put I don't know if it's true or not. I just put Nostradamus.
All right, send me a link to my phone right now.
Yeah,
I'm sending it through.
That's where it's coming from right now. That just.
Oh, you know what? No, send it to the chat right here.
That is
the chat that we have on Zoom. Send the link
now,
there.
How you control paste again? It's Control V, right? Or Command V.
Yeah.
Command V, right?
Yeah.
I forgot how to do.
Did Nostradamus have kids?
We just figured out that you're not a Matrix agent, because how you been, you wouldn't know how to send the fucking message. To the fucking
No, it's that I'm new to a MacBook, so I'm trying to like.
Oh, just go to the tab up there and go to edit, and just go to copy and paste.
Yo, how funny is this? That the iPhone is the easiest mobile device to use, right? Is like for dummies, right? And then it's different when it comes to their laptops. Like it's the other way around. It's the hardest shit to use versus the PC. So the iPhone is easier to use than Android, but when it comes to laptops and computers, the PC is easier to use than the actual iPhone. I mean, the actual Apple laptops. Is that weird, guys?
I find lately I find all computers very hard to fucking work on shit, man. This shit is crazy. Yeah, no, you're right about that. They're trying to merge the iOS. They're trying to make like the laptop shit the same as the phone shit, which would be cool, because if everything on the computer could be as easy as the phone, it'd be in good business.
Yeah, and the thing is, that was the whole thing with Steve Jobs, that he wanted to make Apple products like easy for like people at home to use. You know what I'm saying? Like Android is a more complex system, where it's only for like tech savvy or geek guys to use, you know?
People that program and shit, man.
Yeah, man.
That shit's complicated for me.
Nostradamus got a book called Les Propheties. I guess that's
send me the link.
That right. That I sent the link already. That you could probably look at his prophecies, but they're saying that most of his stuff was vague. So he'll just do like a generalization of something, and then people will just go, "Oh, well, he said he predicted this because it matches what's going on." But in reality, it's just a vague. So
He's a vague Stradamus. He's just.
I haven't gotten the link.
Yeah.
But, I haven't gotten the link, but listen, guys, we had a great conversation tonight. We're definitely gonna do a Profit for Profits part 2. We're gonna get a little bit more in depth in how profits have been used for profits. This sounds crazy each time we say it. It is another reason why you use that to make our thing. But we have a special thing that we do on the show. Before we end it, we do our final thoughts, and we elaborate at a final moment the whole concept of what we spoke about tonight and any night. So we're gonna start off with that. We're gonna do a final thought, and you're gonna be the last because you're our guest. So we're gonna throw it on you, brother, to finish it off. Either you can finish it off like Michael Jordan, pass the ball like LeBron does. It's up to you. I don't know.
I'll do ranking. If the guests normally end it off, I'll stay in ranking.
We're gonna start off with Chris Ryder since he's already active, and he has the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Super Seed. I don't know, some shit in the back. What the fuck is that in the back you got?
Nah, it's one of my favorite sci-fi. It's like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like not Dungeons and Dragons. It's like
called.
It's called Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm very big on Warhammer. Like
kind of looks like you. It kind of looks like you're angry.
So that's a actual like Space Marine, but anyways,
that's what's up.
An Ultramarine at that. But it's a very like expensive hobby to get into.
When I've seen Chris angry, like I've seen him just like that, like
it's $1,000 to just like get into it properly. It's a whole big thing. But anyways,
a lot of mercy.
I'm gonna do Robert De Niro. You.
It looked like Link 2030 or 2450, like Legend of Zelda in the future.
No.
I thought because of the shit on the side of the breastplate, I was like, yo, that shit looks like future Zelda. That should be kind of dope,
buddy.
Well, you should definitely look into it. It's a lot of like violence, blood, gore, action.
That's an anime or a game? Shit. They made a game out of that. Wasn't there a game from?
No, it started as a tabletop, but it morphed into like an entire like culture.
Oh, word.
Almost. It's too much to explain right now.
You guys going.
I'm in there.
I'm going into like geeky animated stuff. That's another episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Start off what you.
I mean, it was interesting to talk about these profits, and it definitely led into a lot of great conversations. Because as always, once we get into a conversation and morphs into so many, and that's how you know that the conversations are organic. You're gonna talk about so many different things, and we definitely touched on a lot of stuff. It's pretty interesting. Definitely you, my brother. Your hats and your clothing line looks pretty nice. I like the logo and everything.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You definitely brought some unique perspectives to the podcast, which is always great.
No doubt.
And of course, my co-host Nelson, who's always got something to say regarding certain things, and he already knows because I sent them videos. If you come to the podcast one day, or you find out that Nelson's missing, it's because the butcher is struck.
Oh man, yo,
Yo,
Skynet just got you, bro. They just recorded everything you said. You're done, bro. You're done. You can't escape. They'll find you. Unless you go to like some fucking cow farm in fucking Ireland or some shit. They won't find you.
Well, pretty interesting. But it's crazy because like the story of Jesus Christ is something that's particular I've gone into a lot of interest in because I know a lot of people who are very religious in that aspect, and I feel like they're not looking at the history behind it. They're just saying this is what it is, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
In reality, history dictates otherwise, because the story of Jesus was something that was repeated constantly in so many different religions, and it's just so interesting how those things are manipulated to the point of profit, regardless of what, like even Nostradamus, his predictions, if you look at it, it's just a description, that can be anything, so, and Moses too. Moses might have been high on the fucking mountaintop. You never know, he could have been fucking zooted out of his mind. You know, like, oh shit, what the fuck? Muhammad is, is responsible for probably one of the largest religions, and there's been so many wars fought, which I think still to this day is being fought. I don't think the crusade ever ended. I think it's still going on now. It's just done in different ways. It's just still Muslims versus no, it's just it's still Muslims versus Christians. It's just done in a different way, and that's never ended. So
nope. Nope.
Wow.
So that shit, the
and it's
crusade's
crazy.
still going on.
It's crazy that they even fight because they have a lot in common.
Yeah, and
the ideas are not that apart from each other.
No.
Yeah, so they're not at all. But
Jesus in some capacity.
I think a lot of the Quran has a lot of stuff from the Bible, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, firecracker blew up in my living room, guys. You guys heard that?
What?
Firecracker blew up in my living room.
What the hell?
And the vibes that we were talking about. Like I literally
somebody threw a firecracker in your shit.
Yeah, I heard a pop, but I didn't know what the hell it was.
Let's finish the final thought because I've got to find these people.
Yeah, but anyways, that's my final thought. So I mean, you guys can go next.
Jesus Christ. Oh man. So listen, I mean, real quick. I mean, honestly, I think profit for profits, right? Definitely the human culture has definitely got damaged as far as like with the concept of money, because I mean, when you think about profits, it's all about economic gain. So, that right there definitely damaged as far as like the whole idea of this profit, what I'm saying? PROPHET, where, they had an idea, but yet, what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it's been used for economic gains opposed to really passing on those teachings that it was really put in place to help people to really involve. And that's why for me, though, honestly, I mean, I'm all about energy, though. Energy, like, really think about the science of humans itself, though. We all come from the same particles of the universe, you know what I'm saying? So we're all the same, and energy to me, like for me, I definitely hit a stage in my life that, I mean, I'm more in tune into my soul, in tune into the universe. And I mean, what you guys spoke about Tesla, you guys spoke about, Albert Einstein, and those guys were definitely ahead of their time. Tesla definitely said a quote as far as like, when you think about the universe, think of terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's the secret, and that's just, that definitely resonated a lot to me when I, was able to really get a better understanding what he meant by that. And, again, for me, though, I learned not to really idolize people, you know what I'm saying? Where I don't follow a certain trend because of this person, how they're projected. And I always been like that, you know what I'm saying? And I think what Einstein once says this, so he said, everyone should be respected, but no one idolized. And that hits me. Now, and I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I mean, I respect every individual, but I don't idolize anybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I move forward, though, man. But that's my final thought.
Shit, man. Like, I don't even know like what to say after that, brother. Like, I'm stuck on the fucking Matrix right now. But listen, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just
we had a conversation
I'm
about
just
that
fucking
too.
tight right now. Like, a firecracker just blew up, like literally, like
inside your living room,
like in the window. Yeah, like some fucking asshole.
That's so
anyway,
weird.
Doug Nell's about to come out, so if I need
reinforcement,
I might call you guys. But anyway, yeah, man. So listen, my whole thing is like this, man. As human beings, we're built to have free will, but that free will has this balance. There's good and evil, and there's fuckboy shit and not fuckboy shit. And what I would say is like this. We can't stop humanity from doing certain things, but we can start changing ourselves individually to change our culture within our own home, and that will help us become better eventually throughout the years. And I'm real big on trying to like have a home base and a home team that understands the same concepts, even though we might have because everybody has different ideas and different thoughts, and nobody's going to agree to 100% to everything. But as long as we have the same frequency, same frequency, we can accomplish a lot. And that's my final thought. You already know we got Profit for Profits right here. Ariel Polanco. He's gonna end it up for us right now.
Final thoughts. Nelson, John, Chris, thank you for having me. First of all, I appreciate it.
Pleasure, brother. Pleasure.
It's always good to have a platform to speak, get things off your mind.
Absolutely.
I thank you for liking. It sounds weird, but thanks for liking the idea and the brand idea behind it. Like you understood a lot about it that I didn't even have to say. The universe unfolds and expands as it should. You know what I'm saying? And it'll continue to do so. So you have to kind of live in the moment, and you have to be aware of where you are, where you've come from, to give you kind of perspective on your trajectory and where you're going. So with that said, nothing happens by chance. There's no such thing as coincidence. The most important thing of numbers you can learn is statistics, because there's possibility and probability, and the second is very important. The possibility something can happen or occur is one thing, but the probability that something may or may not happen is another, and it's easier to detect that. You can be a better Nostradamus just by looking a little bit behind you and a little bit in front of you with knowledge of numbers and shit like that. Patterns. Everything is patterns. Everything we do also is a habit, so watch your habit and your patterns. So you modify your patterns and your habits, even ever so slightly, you can change your life, but you can also identify things and measure trajectories. So you can prophesize in your own life and abroad. And your computer network is like a neural network. So the more neurons you have in your brain, the more capacity. So each person in your network, digital and whatnot, we kind of form a symbiosis, and we're just trading energy, right? So this is going to go out into a billion different ways forever. This right now is all becoming part of the machine, the matrix, the universal consciousness, if you will. And again, thanks for having me on. It was supposed to, no coincidence, right? So everything happens the way it does and how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with other topics. And
definitely put you back on the show, man.
Some things. And yeah, man, those are my final thoughts.
All right.
Oh man, that was pretty deep, man. I appreciate you, man. Listen,
I appreciate y'all.
Profits, just drop your social media and your online game and all your Skype and shit.
You can find me at. You can find me at.
We can find you at John Connor. We have to find you.
You can find me in the club. You can.
Not anymore, though, right? All of the clubs gonna be.
Yo, I got tired of clubs when I was 17 years old. By the time I was 17, 18 years old, I was like, yo, enough. I would fall asleep by speakers, right next to speakers. Boom, boom, boom. Just because I would go to clubs so often, yo.
DJ Ariel.
Yo, for sure. There's at Big Butter Beats, BIGBUTTABEATS. That's the show, legendary. I actually have a documentary about that prior to the show, early 2000s, and then during and after the show, the impact it had worldwide. And it was all documented, so you can't tell me shit.
One of the videos, by the way, right?
You saw me.
Shit.
I got some shit from like early 2000s.
I was like 100 pounds lighter, so you guys might not recognize me.
You can catch me at obviously Profits for Profits. There's the dictator.co. You know what I'm saying? Check that out. Buy some shit. There's Cannabis Creek Charter Club, Canoe Kings, you know what I'm saying? That's if you get down with the John Blades, you know what I'm saying?
With the John Blades, what?
Yeah, at Puff Pal, there's a yo, I have like 30 domains. I have like 30 registered domains that are each like individually being developed. But no. The most important fucking shit that I haven't even said nothing about. Go to TBI 1 2.
As in tranny, as a boy, and then I as in Instagram.
Tranny boy Instagram 1 2 3. So it's probably my most important life work at this moment, and it's still being developed, but there's a presence there. It's about traumatic brain injury, and these are in the year 2000. This month is my 20-year anniversary of I almost got killed in a car accident when I was maybe 18 or some shit. Yeah. No, God, for real, because I was driving. Driving here, the lady that hit me wasn't looking. She was doing like 40, 45. My shit was like a croissant, bro. My seat was like this big. They had to saw me out of the car. It was July 18th, 2000, and it was hot as fuck. I instantly went out. I died. I won't tell you about that experience, but when I came back, it was crazy. They sawed me out. I woke up when they pulled me out, and then again at the hospital. But I suffered what's known as a traumatic brain injury, a TBI. And luckily, by some twist of fate, I was able to get some very helpful manuscripts and documents from a doctor that these don't really exist. So at TBI 123, I'm going to be putting these out. It has like 100-something followers. So there's a lot of people affected by traumatic brain injury. Soldiers, hockey players, football players, car accidents like a motherfucker, people being dropped on their. There's a lot of people that suffer from that shit. And the resources and the odds and shit and the politics and the systems are against people like that. For sure, and the information is just damn near not existent. So if you have somebody, you yourself or someone you know that's suffered a brain injury type concussion or CTE.
Oh, we know a couple, or
yeah. So and this is I'm gonna be putting up some information for that for free. You know what I'm saying? This program originally costs like between $80,000 and $120,000 if you can get in with the one doctor in the US that did it, and then he went back to Israel years ago. So this is like rare, very good information for anybody like that, which is a lot of fucking people. But yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But listen, man, thank you for coming on Dinner at the Roundtable podcast, man.
Shout out to the Round
CEO of Profit for Profits. Definitely go support them, man. I'm saying support us. On YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. In the lower right-hand corner where our butcher is sitting at right now, you can press that logo right there, and you'll be just a subscriber. We're trying to push independent movements.
Subscribe.
Source to knowledge. That's all we're about here. We're gonna end it off right now. Anything else you guys want to say before we leave?
I think we touched upon a lot of things, but we'll have you next, though, man. We definitely have you, bring you back on, though, for sure, though, brother, man. We appreciate your presence, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you all, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
All right, brother.
Sure, man. And, just Profit for Profits, man.
Profits.com, bigbutterbeats.com.
You already know.
The new constitution.
Un año atrás de ti. Y tú nunca nada de nada. Ahora corona una vuelta. Y tú quieres venir para acá. Oye, que lo que. Lávate ese culo. 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 Tú estabas cotizada y ahora quieres venir. Lávate ese culo. Y ahora estás regando que tú estás pa' mí. Lávate ese culo. Tú estabas cotizada y ahora quieres venir. Lávate ese culo. Y ahora estás regando que tú estás pa' mí. Lávate ese culo. Oye, que lo que. Lávate ese culo. 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 Lávate, 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 ya no estoy pa' ti, te dejé en visto. Ahora tú quieres conmigo porque yo soy rico. Pero ya yo no estoy en gente. Lávate ese culo con detergente. Ahora tú eres la más humilde. Ahora me lo quieres dar. Pero ya yo no estoy en eso. Rueda de sonata, vaya pa' allá. Ahora tú eres la más humilde. Ahora me lo quieres dar. Pero ya yo no estoy en eso. Rueda de sonata, vaya pa' allá. Tú estabas cotizada y ahora quieres venir. Lávate ese culo. Y ahora estás regando que tú estás pa' mí. Lávate ese culo. Tú estabas cotizada y ahora quieres venir. Lávate ese culo. Y ahora estás regando que tú estás pa' mí. Lávate ese culo. Oye, ¿qué es lo que? Lávate, 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 lávate ese culo. Lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, lávate ese culo, culo, lávate ese culo.